betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Hope you're well as we say hi again. Tonight is the last night of the NHL regular season. We've got on Saturday the Stanley Cup playoffs starting. We had, of course, the play-ins. West, Mavs as Dogs beat the Kings last night. Heat as Dogs beat the Bulls last night. So they advanced. No basketball tonight. So we've got a lot to do. And one thing, is kind of a weird place to start. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Isaias Ramirez in New York City. Ryan Smith, as always, Steady Eddie in Las Vegas with the YouTube. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com at VSiN Live. Kind of a weird place to start, so I'm not going to do it, but I do want to tease you with it. And it's a good job by Dustin. A good job by Bill and Chevy Chase and others in hipping me to the Dog with Robert Parrish, the Chief conversation. I did listen to that today. And the only thing I can say is when you're doing interviews, finding a human at the right time and the right spot in their life really adds to the experience. And when you find Robert Parrish like Dog found him yesterday, and then you couple that with the enthusiasm of Dog, I can understand why a lot of you said it was your favorite interview of all time. I found it to be remarkably earnest and genuine. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and it made you feel something. Again, when something is real, you're not just going to hear it, you're going to feel it. And if you listen to the Robert Parrish interview, which you can over on this SiriusXM app, you're not going to just hear it, you're going to feel what Robert Parrish is saying. And then equally, you're going to feel, and Tori just replayed it as well, you're going to feel the enthusiasm from Dog. So two legends going at it yesterday, a Hall of Famer and a Hall of Famer, and I enjoyed that. I'll have more on that to come as we get the show started today, but I got handed a gift just to start the program. So let's start here. And again, this is a conversation that needs to be had because the quarterbacks are the big conversation come draft time. And we're going to be talking about the draft. The quarterbacks are not very good in this draft, and that's an issue. Dustin and I were talking earlier today. This draft is a dud. And really all you're saying when talking about a draft, are the quarterbacks good? Is there a plentiful crop of quarterbacks? And if there's not, the draft stinks. And that's where we are this year. But there is one quarterback left floating around. He's one of the all-time greats, and his name is Aaron Rodgers. Now, again, if you're still getting duped by Aaron Rodgers, you're inefficient mentally and emotionally. And, you know, the Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, he knows them well. He said, no, thank you. I don't want to get in that business. The Giants are as inept as any franchise on the planet right now. And they were still smart enough, aware enough to say, no, we don't want to get in the Rodgers business. So this is a warning to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a warning right now from me to you, Mike Tomlin, from me to you, Steeler Nation. If you're inefficient mentally, you will sign Aaron Rodgers. And I'm about to tell you why. This was a tour de force and ego today. Let's set the scene. You guys remember Pat McAfee? He kind of plodded along on the network here. And, you know, the one thing that stood out about McAfee, aside from the nervousness, was he had the spots with Rodgers. Right? He was talking fast, getting the boys involved, and just like, what the hell's going on? And done an amazing job. You got to give him credit. Has really turned into quite a broadcaster. And the Rodgers spots were always huge for McAfee because they drew a lot of attention. One, McAfee's amazing at what he does. Let's be honest. And then two, Rodgers is a huge name in sports. So when those two collided, we got a lot of pub on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and McAfee and his show did a great job, and Rodgers got a lot of acclaim. And because Rodgers, one thing before he started going on McAfee, he did ayahuasca, which is awesome. I'm not going to begrudge anybody that are trying to get better. And then he listened to a podcast. That appears to be what's happened. We had a presidential election built off podcast, and I'm not saying which way I wanted it to go. You think I'm that stupid? You think I'm the Steelers signing Aaron Rodgers? I'm just saying podcasting has become a big deal, so we have a lot of experts. Now, think about this. Last time you were with your family, you went around and you're talking to one of your little cousins, and he started quoting something from a podcast, and he acted like he was a genius, and you wanted to slap him. But you didn't, because slapping your nephew would be very rude. Point is, people listen to a podcast, then they think they're brilliant. They think they're better than doctors. They think they're better than psychologists, genealogists, immunologists, whatever you want to say, ologist. They just become that because Rogan said it. So today, Aaron Rodgers goes on. Now, after a 2-month respite of not talking to the media, Aaron Rodgers goes on the Pat McAfee show. All of this is calculated. Understand, Pat McAfee pays Aaron Rodgers a lot of money out of his own pocket. And that's one thing McAfee, outside of being a brilliant broadcaster, one thing McAfee does is he comes out of pocket and is very generous with his people. And Rodgers is one of his people. And then ergo, the other way, Rodgers says, don't worry, I'm not going to give anybody else anything. I'm going to give the scoops to you. And that's what happened today. And here's where we start. Aaron Rodgers slams Aaron Glenn for contentious meeting that abruptly ended the Jets' career of Aaron Rodgers. All right. I'm going to tell you why we've gone 2 months of silence by Aaron Rodgers, because he told Pat McAfee. But let's start here. Rodgers said about the meeting with Glenn, and by the way, Jets fans, you have found your head coach, because Aaron Glenn is the first person big enough to stand up to someone who tries to manipulate and make people fearful, and that is Aaron Rodgers. He did it with Mike McCarthy. He did it with the donk that was coaching there with the Jets, who he fired. He did it by bringing Devontae Smith in. He did it all. This is what he does. He tries to fearfully and tries to manipulate and he tries to strong arm. That's what he does. And Aaron Glenn had him in for a meeting. Aaron Rodgers flew from his California home to New Jersey in early February for what he thought would be an extended meeting with Glenn and the new general manager. Instead, the meeting lasted just 15 minutes, and Glenn did not show ample respect to Rodgers. His words, Rodgers didn't feel as though he was respected. That's rich. And it's funny. Anytime somebody says respect, understand you're dealing with a crazy person. Rodgers said he and Glenn began speaking. Then Glenn went, quote, running out of the room to get the general manager. Rodgers said, quote, that was kind of strange. I think we are going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country, and 20 seconds in, he goes and leans to the edge of his seat and says, so you want to play football? Rodgers says, I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. And Glenn was like, we're going in a different direction at quarterback. Bam! Mic drop. Aaron Glenn, come to the Lions. Come back to the Lions. The Jets have finally found a head coach. What an alpha. He brought the one dude that wants to influence with fear into face-to-face a meeting and said, you want to play football? It's not going to be here, big guy. And I'm glad you flew from California all the way to Jersey, just so I could tell you. But that didn't sit well with Rodgers. He said, quote, I was kind of shocked. Not shocked because I didn't think it was a possibility, but shocked because I flew across the country and you could have told me over the phone. Scenario one, the Jets call Aaron Rodgers on the phone and tell him they don't want him anymore. Do you think he goes on McAfee and says the disrespect was insane? Yes, he does. It's the old adage. Would you prefer to be broken up with in person or text or telephone call? It doesn't matter. You're getting dumped. Get over yourself. Rodgers says, oh, I can't believe they did this to me. They did the 2-minute conversation. Rodgers said the Jets were not interested in finding out whether he wanted to remain with the team or his opinion on players. He's not the general manager, but he thought he should be given opinion on players to the Jets. The messaging around his release, he felt the Jets wanted to control. Rodgers said, I don't give a shit about the messaging. Why? Now let's go back to where we started. The concerted messaging with Pat McAfee. Now Rodgers is literally lying and saying, I don't care about messaging. The Jets wanted to control the message. Rodgers said, quote, it was very strange. It was a very strange meeting for sure. There was no me pleading, please have me on this team. I don't want to be part of that. It was already a debacle in some cases. That whole situation was crazy. That was a little rogue by the head coach. So Rodgers is now calling the Jets crazy. Remember, Rodgers went on the McAfee show a couple of years ago and pleaded with the Packers to trade him to the Jets. Now Rodgers on the way out is calling the Jets crazy. What did we see during Rodgers' tenure? We saw him cold shoulder the head coach on national TV, eventually getting the head coach fired. We saw him doing weird Zoom calls with Devontae Adams popping in the picture because he hired his best friend. We saw plenty. Then all of a sudden, the Jets became adults, brought in Aaron Glenn and a new general manager. They did the respectful thing, flew him out and told him, we don't want you anymore. So you're free to go on your way. Now we get to why we hadn't heard from Rodgers in 2 months. And this is the fascinating part, because Aaron Rodgers revealed on the Pat McAfee show today that he's dealing with challenges in his personal life. That's why his decision with the NFL is on hold. Have I painted enough of a picture as to why the Steelers should stay away? This is called ego, people. Let me ask you a question. If you had a family member, I don't know, stricken with a disease right now, would you run around and tell everybody, or would you keep it personal? If you're running around and telling everybody, you're just trying to get attention to yourself. And then if you bring it up in a, passive aggressive way, like, I'm not going to talk about this, but I'm really dealing with some stuff right now. Now, I'm not belittling if Aaron Rodgers is dealing with stuff right now. I'm belittling the concept that he would bring it up as a way to protect himself as to why he's treating the Jets and the Steelers the way he is. I'm telling you right now, this would be a disaster. If the Steelers were to sign Aaron Rodgers, it is going to be a mess, just like it was a mess on the way out of Green Bay, just like it was a mess on the way out with the Jets. It will continue to be a mess. When people show you who they are, trust them. Trust Aaron Rodgers. He keeps on showing you. The concept that he felt disrespected because the Jets wanted to tell him face-to-face that they were no longer interested, that should blow your mind. Because you know for a fact he would have spun it the other way if they called him and told him. Who does that on the telephone? What kind of big decision like that is made over the telephone? Who do they think they are? I'm an MVP. I'm Aaron Rodgers. But here's the problem. And this is another reason the Steelers shouldn't sign him. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's a shell of Aaron Rodgers. So if you add the mental, if you add the personality, and then you add it to the fact that if you watched him play football last year, that's just not a very good quarterback, where's the upside? I ask you, Dustin Swedelson, where is the upside?
Well, the problem is when Aaron Rodgers was an elite quarterback, you could put up with all this stuff, but that's gone now. What's he? Quarterback 20 through 28 in the league right now, somewhere in that range? I mean, he looks slow. The decision-making looks slow. The release looks slow. He just looked like a guy who was 40 years old playing the position. And if you're going to have to deal with all these distractions, like him doing an interview that was only to put his name back into the news cycle, well, I think you can go another route at the quarterback position. It's a lot of attention on a guy who's just not worthy of it anymore. And you have to wonder why he did this. Why did he, if he wasn't going to bring us substance, if he wasn't going to bring us information and let us know what his plans were for the season, you have to get inside his head, which, by the way, it is a dangerous place to be these days. But you get inside there and you go, Aaron Rodgers, why are you talking to the media right now? It's because he's desperate. Aaron Rodgers has not been talked about in over a month because the rest of the league has filled their quarterback spots. Daniel Jones went to Indianapolis. Wilson and Winston went to the Giants. The Minnesota Vikings have said they prefer to see J.J. McCarthy play because it's year 2 for him. Cleveland went with Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. Tennessee has decided they're going to draft Cam Ward. There's only one team left, and that one team has a decision to make at number 20 in the draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Do they go and draft a young quarterback and bring them along and add him to this team, or do they sign Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers, exactly 1 week from the Steelers making that decision, decided to do an interview on the Pat McAfee show because he's desperate. There is no other option for him to possibly play football next year. That's why he's talking.
You're right. It is desperation. And he said, I don't give a shit about the messaging, but you just pointed out, he went on Pat McAfee today to control the messaging. Here was his quote. And this is hilarious. By the way, if you've ever read any Eastern philosophy, get ready. I mean, because all you have to do is crack open the first page. And what you're about to hear is exactly what Aaron Rodgers did. Here's what he said, big guy. I'm trying to be open to everything and not specifically attached to anything. when it comes to the decision. It's called non-attachment. You can look it up, the Buddha. All right. It's non-attachment. If you just tell people you're non-attached, you don't become attached to something. It makes you seem like you're enlightened or doing something better. It's ridiculous. He said, I'm trying to be open to everything and not attached to anything. When it comes to this decision, I'm just going through. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. I'm just going through a lot in my personal life that has to take precedent at this point. What the hell are you talking about? Why are you saying that out loud? If you're going through a lot in your personal life, go take care of it. How about not jump on the Pat McAfee show? And by the way, let me just say this. If you're going through a lot in your personal life, your agent could still secure a contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nothing you're saying on Pat McAfee is going to help or dissuade them, probably dissuade them. It has nothing to do with anything except him saying, hey, everybody, feel for me. I'm passive-aggressively letting you know I'm probably going through another breakup. Well, I've gone through a million breakups.
No, it does.
I'm 47. I've literally never not gone through a breakup. I don't come on the air and say, well, I can't do the show tonight because I'm dealing with something personal. Dude, I took a day off and my dad lost his leg. Shut up.
But the math doesn't math there. The math ain't mathing with, I'm sitting here doing this interview, and the only reason I haven't signed with the team is because of my own stuff I'm dealing with. Then why are we having this discussion to begin with? It has nothing to do with anything. You might as well be talking about Yosemite National Park right now. I don't know what you're saying, Aaron Rodgers.
And that was well done because I have no clue what you're saying.
Yes,
It was Yosemite. Exactly. That's it. It's a park. It's Rodgers. Whatever you're doing, bro. Look, I'm not trying to be too hard on the guy.
I mean,
hold on. It was just a tour de force. It really is a tour de force. And here's the problem. If you're going to be a public figure and you're going to treat the rest of us like we're beneath you and stupid, well, then somebody needs to call you out for it. And if you just keep on projecting onto others, and if you keep on being passive aggressive, eventually you're gonna meet Aaron Glenn. Eventually, there is going to be somebody like Aaron Glenn that says, yes, I know that Salah was willing to get fired for this crap. I'm not him. I'm me. Get the hell out of here. You're lucky this lasted 15 minutes.
Yeah, and why did it last as long as it did with him? Why did people put up with it? It was the quarterback play, but also there was an effort by Aaron Rodgers over the last few years. All he wanted to be known for was everything other than football. And the problem is, over the course of that time, he got worse at football, and now people know more about him and his world outside of the game. And when the game isn't as good as it used to be, you can't play it anymore. You can't deal with all the outside noise that Aaron Rodgers brings. This dude is going to go into this season without a job. He is going to be waiting for a quarterback to get hurt early in the season before he signs with the team, because I think if Mike Tomlin really wanted him and really believed this was going to work, Mike Tomlin would have signed him already.
Well, don't worry. If he goes into the season without a job, he's non-attached. But here would be my, and I'm not even trying to be condescending here. If you're so non-attached to the football decision, I'm not trying to be a therapist, but why not just be non-attached to the personal issue as well? If you're going to speak down to us in a condescending manner that you don't become attached to anything, why then jump on a show and say, I haven't been talking for a while because I'm dealing with issues? Unattach.
No, that's all of it, though. But all of it,
it's so everything. People go on an ayahuasca retreat, and I'm open-minded. You know that. I'll take anything. If it makes me feel better, pump it into my veins. But the problem is it's people like that go on the retreats and then they come back and they think that everybody else is beneath them. And that's where he's sitting right now on the high horse with no teams to play for.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is none of the words that came out of his mouth during the interview go with what he's actually saying. Because by doing the interview and speaking about all of this, he's negating everything he's saying already. He is a walking contradiction.
Well, give me an example.
By making it about anything other than football, by speaking about all this other stuff. Why is any team going to sign their leader of their franchise at quarterback when he's out here being a distraction? When his whole thing is, everyone loves me. I'm not a distraction. I'm welcome anywhere. He's not welcome anywhere. If he was welcome anywhere, he'd be signed somewhere.
It's just funny that he talked about the Jets being a disaster. And it's like the person holding onto the rag with the fire burning behind them. Like, I had nothing to do with that. I got the lighter in my hand, but that behind me, that's all their problem.
Oh, no, you're right, though, about the spin zone. 100% chance. They call him, they text him, they email him to let him know they're moving on. He makes a big deal out of it. They fly him out, or he flies himself out, I guess, and meets with them in person. He's going to make a big deal about it.
Right.
That's what he is. Like, either way, he was going to make them the villain because everyone's always against Aaron Rodgers in his world.
It's like the breakup thing is the exact. This was a breakup. Aaron Glenn and the Jets were breaking up with Aaron Rodgers. It's the old question. Can you believe she dumped me over the phone? Rory McIlroy was very much chastised for breaking up with Caroline Wozniacki over the phone. What's the difference in meeting in person? It's going to be painful as hell. You got to move on, people. Grow up.
I have a friend who called me a week ago, told me he hates his job. He told me he hates his job. He's ready to quit. And then he got fired this week. And you know what he said to me? Yeah, I understand what you're saying, that I did say I wanted to leave the job a week ago, but I wanted to end it on my terms. What I said to him, I said, hold on, what changes? Either way, you don't have to do the job that you don't want to do anymore. All that happened is they beat you to the punch. Nothing changes for you. You can go do whatever you want to do next.
It's true. And I just give Aaron Glenn so much props. They loved him in Detroit as the defensive coordinator, but through myriad of people that would not stand up to this dude constantly, just be pushed around with the condescension. Aaron Glenn was the first person big enough to stand up to Rodgers, the dude that tries to manipulate and make people fearful. And Aaron Glenn said, that not on my watch. And you know what they did? They went out and signed a huge question mark. Instead of re-upping with Rodgers, they said, we'd rather take a chance on Justin Fields than to deal with your drama moving forward.
And I think this is a huge shift for that organization. It's probably the best decision they've made in 30 years, the New York Jets, deciding not to be in the business of Aaron Rodgers, because now you can get back to actually building a culture, creating a team that fits what you want to do, and winning football games again. May not be this year, but hate to break it to you, Aaron Rodgers wasn't helping you win more football games this year either.
Yeah, you're right. The shift is a good word. You have to decide, as a human, as a franchise, are you just going to continue to repeat the stupidity and keep having the same results, or are you going to legitimately shift and try to start something anew? And if you were going to stick around with Rodgers and hope you could squeeze something out, the shell of who he was, that was just going to be the continuation of stupidity. Yeah. At least you've now shifted. So that's where the Jets stand with Justin Fields. At least there's a question. Can he be good? We already know the answer with Rodgers. And Aaron Glenn, I believe it was also mentioned in the interview. Aaron Glenn, Rodgers alluded to the fact that Aaron Glenn was worried that he was going to have to look over his shoulder while he was trying to lead a team and look at Rodgers. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you've created, bro. Ask Saleh, who is a fine head coach and is going to get another gig. You fired him.
It's the same reason a young Matt LaFleur said, you know what? I'll take my chance with this Jordan Love kid we drafted. Have no idea how good he's going to be. I've only seen him in practice, but I'd rather deal with that and that kid taking my coaching and let me lead this team than someone who's constantly sniping me from the back and undermining all my decisions as the leader of the team.
And the undermining of Love was very present with Aaron Rodgers. That's another one. Exactly. So, again, we'll take it away from the pop psychology because I'm certainly not one, and we'll move it to the Steelers. Let's talk about football. What would you do? 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Rodgers goes on McAfee, says, I can't really talk about it. I'm going through personal stuff, and then continues to talk about it while not telling us what the personal stuff is. Then in the same breath, bombs on Aaron Glenn because Aaron Glenn didn't want him on the way out, said, I didn't really want them anyway. That's an organization that needs to figure their ass out, when he had a huge, maybe the prominent role in, Woody Johnson has something to say, but Aaron Rodgers certainly didn't do the Jets any favors.
No. Well, no, Woody Johnson's children didn't do the Jets any favors either.
And Rodgers always the passive one. He thanked Christopher Johnson today on McAfee, but left out Woody Johnson.
Oh,
No, everything's calculated, people. Everything's calculated. And the woe is me, I can't believe everybody's doing this to me shtick is so old.
you know what he always is? He's always a victim with a very long explanation as to why he's convincing us he's always the victim. If you have to give me paragraphs on why you're the victim, maybe you're the issue here.
It's the same thing on draft night. It couldn't just be, you know what? I'll pull myself together and I'll show the rest of the league. It was so much spite, so much hatred, anger, all that kind of stuff. And all it is we're just 15 years later, and he's just doing it off of ayahuasca.
You know what, though? You have to wonder, was he already that person and that's why he slipped in the draft? Or did that situation create the monster we see in front of us? Because we're all just a victim of our own trauma. The question is, was the trauma before that draft, or did it happen because of the draft?
You think that night is the reason this person is legitimately no? I would just say, I think it goes much. You're in therapy. I think this goes much deeper than draft night.
Yeah, I think that's
I think
so.
this,
Then
I think this type of passive aggressiveness has more to do with the couple teams passed on him. I think it might have something to do with what was happening, in childhood.
Upstairs. Yeah.
888 Mad Dog 6 888-623-3646. So we got a little bit of a respite. NHL regular season wraps up tonight. No NBA on tonight. And I do want to get to the Dog and Parrish conversation. I have so many thoughts on it. Again, thanks to Dustin. Anybody else that recommended it, you can find the Robert Parrish conversation with Dog on the SiriusXM app. I encourage you to find that, and I'll give him a pop as well. I listened to the Simmons conversation, and that is well worth a listen on the app. Dog's on a heater right now. I'll just say that. And Dog's on a heater. You can tell he's on a heater because both Robert Parrish and Bill Simmons kissed the ring. So you like it when one of the great sports writers of our generation and one of the great centers of our generation say, Dog, you're the man. So when you have that type of respect, symbiotic respect between the subject and the interviewer, that's pretty good. So I encourage you to go to the SiriusXM app. When we come back, your calls on Rodgers. What would you do? Seriously, what would you do? Minnesota said no. The Giants said no. Many teams have said not getting. The Jets just said no. The Colts said no. On and on. All these teams are saying no. There's one team left that might say yes, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have some advice for them? It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, VSiN is on SiriusXM Channel 158. Get 24/7 sports betting coverage on Channel 158 and the SiriusXM app. As an exclusive offer for SiriusXM listeners, you can get full VSiN Pro access through August 1st for just $19. You get a daily email with the best bets, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circus Sportsbook, plus our Kentucky Derby betting guide, NFL betting guide when it drops. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS to lock in the special offer. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. This is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Kind of a weird day on a Thursday because we've got NHL games, and then you've got the play-in games tomorrow. The playoffs in earnest, NBA and the NHL start on Saturday, which is a 2-month odyssey. I should say this. I always talk about how the NBA and NHL playoffs are a freaking grind. Did you know if there's a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final, it could be played on June 23rd? Did you know if there's a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, it could be played on June 19th? It is April 17th. That is more than 2 months, big guy. That's why the regular seasons are irrelevant. It's a 2-month slog with most of the league in the tournament.
And on top, the break is definitely warranted because if you legitimately want to call the phone number and you want to tell us how amped up you are about the Heat, you're amped up about the Mavericks advancing in the play-in, I think you actually have to find some other hobbies. You got to find some other interests because you're wasting your time with things that don't matter.
Yeah, both dogs won last night. Bad job by me on the Bulls. So we're talking Aaron Rodgers, who called up Pat McAfee and said, I'm ready to talk after a 2-month respite. After Minnesota turned him away, the Giants turned him away, Indianapolis turned him away, and there's one team left standing. So he wanted to get out there and let everybody know. Just understand, he doesn't have to say anything. If the Steelers want to sign him, he doesn't have to go on Pat McAfee. He went on McAfee and said that he's pissed off at Glenn. Glenn called him, flew him across, or Rodgers flew himself across the country, which, again, irrelevant. Don't tell us about your travel. It's not my problem, bro. Live closer. This is what people do when they think the world revolves around them. They're like, let me tell you about my travel plans. I don't give a flip how far you traveled. He travels to Jersey, and he was like, oh, the meeting wasn't long enough when they told me they didn't want me, so I'm offended by that. Are you 12?
Wait, did he want them to drag it
13?
out? He wanted them to drag it out. He wanted like a slideshow of all the reasons why we're going to move on from you, Aaron Rodgers. He would rather it be like an hour-and-a-half long conversation with the breakup.
Yeah, and Aaron Glenn, again, I'm saying congrats to the Jets because he was the first person big enough to stand up to Aaron Rodgers. I love to see it. And then Rodgers went on to give a bizarre, hey, by the way, I haven't been talking for a couple months because I'm going through something in my personal life. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If he's going through something challenging in his personal life, I genuinely hope he gets it worked out. It's just, why is he talking about it vaguely on the Pat McAfee show?
Just
work on it, dude. We believe you.
Is that Aaron Rodgers saying that, or is that me in 7th grade with my AOL Instant Messenger away message so that everyone would then hit me up, be like, what's wrong, man? How you doing? That's what he just did. He just set it up for people to reach out and be like, hey, are you good? What's going on?
Yeah, we believe you. It's fine. Yeah.
But we also didn't need to know.
Go get some help. Do whatever you got to do. It's good.
What is telling Pat that right now? What does that have to do with anything?
What do you think it's doing? He's trying to in some way say the Jets were mean to me. I'm going through something in my personal life. All right, come on, people. Feel sorry for me. No. And by the way, he said the Jets were a disaster on the way out. Yeah, you think? You fired the head coach.
Yeah. It's also damage control. It's also perception, his image. He wants the Steelers to hear, no, Pittsburgh, I haven't signed with you because of me. I'm going through stuff. It has nothing to do with you. I'll call you when I'm ready.
This is not ego. This is mad. Christopher Russo has created a big network here. It's a possibility somebody's bumping around in California and listening, including Aaron. If Aaron heard this conversation, he would be laughing out loud because you and me, we're the stupid ones. You understand what I'm trying to tell? And everybody on hold and everybody else, we're all the mental inefficient ones that he has got to figure it out. And anybody that doesn't get it, he feels sorry for them. He's not attached.
And it's one of those difficult games because you have to talk about it, but you also, Aaron Rodgers gets a victory today because we're all talking about him not saying anything because he's the topic again, and that was always number one on the agenda. Go hit up Pat. No one's talked about me for a month. We just had March Madness. The draft is a week away. Let's remind people I'm a free agent and I'm out there. Hi, I'm Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but at what point does he go from the winner because he's getting attention to it just pitiful and sad? And I think we might be reaching. I think we might be reaching pitiful and sad.
You know, we're on the edge for sure.
The Giants said no. The Colts said no. The Vikings said no. It's starting to get pitiful and sad, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So instead of trying to, in some way, farm or fish for sympathy, just go figure it out, dude. We're pulling for you.
As a human.
VSiN, yeah, we're pulling for you. Let's go to Matt in Florida here on VSiN Live. Hi, Matt.
Hey, guys. What's going on? Thanks for the call.
Hey, buddy.
Jets fan here. So a couple of things. I'm totally done with Rodgers. I wanted him gone. This whole I'm dealing things with my personal life. It's such a stupid crutch that celebrities use. It's beyond tiring, and I didn't want to hear it either. My only disagreement here is watching this team a long time, knowing how ownership operates. I don't buy the fact that Aaron Glenn made this decision. I think this was Woody Johnson telling Aaron Glenn, go be a jerk to Rodgers for me because I don't like him, and I don't want to do it myself. I honestly, I don't think Aaron Glenn, if Aaron Glenn was told we're bringing Rodgers back, he'd welcome him, he'd roll out the red carpet for him. And that's just me being a Jets fan. I have no confidence in Aaron Glenn, no confidence in this new regime, just because of who the owner is. And
no, you might be right. You could be right. Woody Johnson, and eventually, ultimately, the decisions, like the Mavericks' decision to trade Luka, come from ownership. However, what I like about Glenn is the way he handled it once he was given his marching orders. He didn't kiss his ass. He didn't try to buffer him. He literally just said, we're going to move on, so we're done. Anything else? I like that.
Yeah, he took control back. Let's hear from Aaron Rodgers. Let's play a clip. Let's hear it from his mouth. This was him telling the story about the Jets, saying they're moving on from him.
I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his sheet and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, if they want to move on, that's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. You could have told me this on the phone.
Let me. On what planet have you ever heard a person literally going from a meeting and then verbatim going on McAfee and saying, here's the tea? Like, it's so childish. It's so weird. It's odd.
Yeah,
it's odd.
It's a lack of professionalism. If we just had a meeting at our job and then we crack the mic 5 minutes after and let everyone know all the details of what in the meeting, I feel like that's a fireable offense. And the Jets did essentially fire him.
It's so odd. It really is. It's just really strange. Reggie in Vancouver here, VSiN Live. Hi, Reggie. Reggie.
Give me a minute to go. Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Reggie.
Hey, listen, give me a second here to go back and forth with you guys. I don't understand why we're giving this so much time and energy and attention. We got the playoffs on. I've been on hold for 25 minutes, and all I've heard is you guys repeat the exact same thing about Aaron Rodgers.
Go ahead. You want to talk about the playoffs? Go. Hey, Reggie.
No,
Go ahead,
I'm
talk about.
saying you guys.
No, Reggie. Go ahead and talk about the playoffs. I'm good.
Because he supported Palestine. You're saying it.
There we go. See, Reggie. See, you did it yourself, didn't you? Hold on. Reggie, go ahead and you brought up Palestine. Now go ahead and talk about the play.
For 25 minutes.
Reggie, what do you want to say about the playoffs?
That's what I'm saying. You guys do the same shit. You did it to Kyrie, too. You used to smear him every fucking day.
What did Kyrie have anything to do with Palestine?
Search on some sports.
Go ahead, please.
Let's talk.
Hey, Reggie, you want to talk about the playoffs?
We got playoffs going on.
I can't wait to hear your breakdown. I'm excited. Reggie. I'm excited to hear your breakdown.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to LA to watch the Oilers play the Kings, and I'm going to go watch Game 2 of the NBA first round. Lakers, Luka, and LeBron.
All right. What do you think about the games?
Team that averaged 27, 7, and 7.
That's
There's
riveting.
So much to talk about, man.
Riveting.
There's
Hey,
so much
Reggie.
to talk about.
Reggie, you
Oh,
got a second career coming. Shut. He wanted to break down the playoffs, and he told us what his travel was.
Well, he's an Aaron Rodgers fan. That's what Aaron did today. Aaron wanted to break down his travel. Reggie just following in his footsteps.
Yeah, there we go. Gary, Kansas City, VSiN Live. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Patrick, thank you for taking my call. How is somebody with the resources to go to Los Angeles and watch 2 playoff games so pissed off? But
He brought up Palestine. I got a little confused, but I wanted to hear his breakdown about the playoffs, and he couldn't quite go there, Gary.
so ever since the old days of the rap, I have acquired a degree in psychology, and in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers has flown off the handle because it is possible for the human brain to snap when somebody acquires too much status, too much power, too much money, dating actresses, doing all these things. What happens is your schema become maladaptive. Your schema is basically your decision-making day-to-day playbooks. And when the schema become maladaptive, that's when the circus moves into town. And when that happens, a person starts getting traits of narcissism, of psychopathy, delusions, stuff like that. And I mean, I literally think this is what happened to this guy. And I'm not making excuses for him, but I think he has literally lost his mind. Like he's too famous, too much money, too many actresses, and he just snapped.
You might be. You're smarter than me. I assure you. You use words I never even heard of. One, I didn't want to bring up the N-word because the N-word is floating around TikTok, but narcissism is something that I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but seems to be something going on here. Let's go, Jason in Toronto, VSiN Live. Hi, Jason.
Hey, yo, Patty, it's nice to hear from you again, man. I used to
You
listen to you
too.
when I was living on the West Coast, but I moved back to the East Coast, so I don't listen in the evening. Hey, I didn't think Canadians, as a fellow Canadian, we had an accent there, but if Gary's what we all sound like, I apologize to all the listeners out there.
I didn't think Canadians were that angry, Jason. That was wild.
It's because we don't have bourbon up here right now, man. There's all the stuff.
Oh, it's the tariffs. The tariffs?
It's all the tariff, man. That's all it is.
Oh.
Hey, I gotta say, it's nice listening to you and the big man again. I gotta disagree with the big man here real quick, though. Acting like we're gonna get the Jets get rid of Rodgers, gonna fix everything. The Jets not tried this a couple years ago with Wilson and Geno and whoever the hell was before. The Jets just suck. Like, can we just call it what it is? The time they had some success there was with Mark Sanchez there, and let's be honest, that guy was an absolute bum too. They got lucky a couple of years, had a good defense, but anyway, here's what I want to say. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm a big time Steelers fan, but I'm a little bit of a realist here. I'm hoping to get blood from a stone. I'll be honest, but I truly believe if he can do even a little bit of what he is capable of in the Steelers system, then the Steelers are going to be a real good team. And I know that's a little bit of a far cry there, and maybe I'm getting on that Canadian green, but I think that's where we're heading there.
They got the green still, but they don't have the bourbon. If I was in Canada, and listen, don't look at me on the tariffs, but if I was in Canada, I'd be a bootlegger right now. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3640. So let's move Josh back 10 minutes. Let's keep it going. I've been inspired by the Gary guy. I think we need to go more on Rodgers, and we will with your calls. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
the SiriusXM Podcast Network here. Katie Nolan and comedian John Garbus talk cell phone etiquette at sporting events, the Savannah Bananas, and why Temptation Island is so incredible. New episodes of Casuals drops every Tuesday and Thursday, so listen right now on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcast. Also, SiriusXM app, The Dog Conversation with Robert Parrish and Bill Simmons. A+, both of them. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. Let's go ahead and hit this one from Rogers with McAfee. Right back to calls. Go ahead, Isaiah.
I don't think it was fair to the Steelers or anyone, to make a decision while I'm dealing with a lot off the field. So at the same time, I want to keep the lines of communication open. That's why I've talked to all the important people, and the people that need to know what's going on.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I'm not being callous. We're all dealing with it. The phone lines are lined up, and every single one of those people on the phone, they've got some shit going on in their life. I won't be here tomorrow. We all have stuff going on in our lives. We don't use it as a way to, in some way, get people to feel for us or manipulate others. That's it. So the Pittsburgh Steelers should use that as a huge red flag. And
he's pandering for sympathy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because no one was thinking about him.
Now, our next caller is generally a contrarian. So is Bill and Chevy Chase pro Rodgers? Is that true?
No. First of all, I learned something today. I didn't realize from Sadat, whoever called about Palestine, I'm supposed to complain every time I'm on hold for 25 minutes.
You'd have a big complaint, Bill.
I had to hire a consulting firm to tell me I've actually spent 3.5 years of my life waiting to talk to you people. So they did a study. But,
hey, Rodgers needs therapy, and you might need therapy too, Bill. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I agree with your take on Rodgers. My phrase for Aaron Rodgers is now, I call it full on. He's in full on death of a salesman mode. That's where he is. He's just out there. It's over, and he's going through the motions. He's just playing out the string. I mean, my God, the Colts have Anthony Richardson, and they didn't want him. I mean, are you serious? And with Aaron Glenn, I have to tell you, I have the same reaction to Aaron Glenn you did, because when Aaron Glenn was hired, everybody jumped on the Aaron Glenn bandwagon, which was fine. I don't think it was a bad hire. But some people, including on the station, were literally saying, and if it doesn't go right, I don't want to hear it's Aaron Glenn's fault. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, let's see what happens. But I have to tell you, I was impressed. When I heard, even if it was contrived for Woody Johnson, when I heard him say, "You don't run this team, I do." As a Jets fan growing up, I was very impressed. I think it's very positive.
I think it is, Bill. Thanks for calling. I think, look, all I'm saying about Glenn, even if he was given marching orders, which I actually don't know, I think Woody at this point is like, I can't. We botched it so many times. We thought we had it with Saleh. I think the new GM and Glenn genuinely had their choice. And I think they said, we're not interested in getting into this business. And he told them straight to his face. A lot of people have been unable to do that with Rodgers, and that's what I respect.
Yeah, they drew a line. They said, we're no longer in the business of letting someone else run our franchise. We're going to let the head coach and the GM make decisions here. I don't know if that means they win Super Bowls. I don't even know if it means they make the playoffs. I just know that they have controlled their organization again, and that matters.
Yeah, Craig in Las Vegas here on VSiN Live. Hi, Craig.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey,
what
Gary,
up?
Congratulations. You beat Mike in the OC, the most annoying caller. So just
can I just say this? Because I have fun with that kind of stuff, but I'll say this. People that are unhinged, if you just give them enough rope, they're going to bring up Palestine or Israel. It's always going to happen. And then they're going to expose themselves. They're going to expose themselves. That's what happens, Craig.
Yeah, I know. I was like, listen, you lasted longer than when you hung up on Mike the other day.
I didn't do that, Craig. That wasn't me. I swear to God, I didn't do it, Craig.
Oh, I love you guys. Hey, listen, with the Rodgers thing, there were so many times that people kept saying, "Oh, Rodgers is better than Brady" and all that. Listen, there's no more comparisons anymore. Brady's the GOAT, and I almost can can you almost blame the Bucks for what the Jets tried to do? Because the Bucks got Brady and fixed the franchise. They flushed out. They got a whole new locker room. They know how to win. He won a Super Bowl. And the Jets were like, well, they did it, and they were in disarray. They brought in an A-plus quarterback with the defense and all the talent around it, but they didn't know what they were bringing in with all the baggage around them. And it just, I don't know. I don't think it made the Jets any worse, but because they're a mess of a franchise. But it just seems like the Bucs situation almost made the Jets kind of go out and spend and make all the money for Rodgers, and it just made them worse.
And wasn't Brady, Craig, like 43 at the time?
Yeah, he was 43, and he should have won the MVP the year that Rodgers won when he was with the Bucs, because he was much better that year, and he beat him in the NFC title game too.
I know, Craig. Thank you. Listen, a whole new chapter was rewritten when he went 43 down to Tampa and won a Super Bowl. It was just like you can never have the discussion again about Belichick and all that. Anyway.
Oh no, he somehow raised his and lowered Bill's at the same time.
Yeah, that was wild. Let me just do this before the top of the hour. Mike.
What?
Before you run over me. I did not hang up on you yesterday.
Did Dustin get
Dude,
a
can I give you my theory?
Yeah.
I think you're kind of spastic in a way, like you move a lot and you jerk around a lot. I think you literally just hung up on yourself.
You never know.
But I just want you to know, I swear to God, I didn't hang up on you.
I believe you're my friend. You know what's funny? I seriously had a whole conversation for 2 minutes, didn't know. Because I was looking at I had the phone on speaker, and I kind of looked up, and I go, like, oh God, dang, what an interview, with Parrish and those great '80s finals. Like, oh shoot, I'm off the phone. Oh, what did Patrick hear? Then I went back to the radio real quick, and I heard dialed. So told the beautiful Italian she's cracking up. Oh, it was great. By the way, Aaron Rodgers, is he the exact opposite of like Robert Parrish? One guy led his whole career just so humbly, didn't say a word, never about me. This other guy is just me. And by the way, with Aaron, I got to say, you remember he was dating Olivia Munn? Is that Olivia Munn, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you that.
Now, the only reason I got to hang up is because top of the hour, but I just wanted you to know I didn't hang up on you last time. He does bring up a good point. While all this adulation is being showered upon Dog and Parrish because it was just so earnest and genuine, think about the contrast with what we saw today. And it's not McAfee's fault. It's the subject. 888-623-3646. Couple of you will continue with your calls, and we got Josh Applebaum. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Ed, all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, check out the VSiN newsletter. Our next guest, I'm going to take a few calls. Josh was nice enough to chill for a bit, but our next guest is featured prominently in the newsletter. Right back at you, big guy. VSiN.com/newsletter. You can find Bill A.D. just grinding, just absolutely grinding from the Legacy Club. You get your sports betting menu set for the day. Maybe Brent Musburger pops in. You're going to have your Greg Petersons in there. You can't miss it. All right, pre-plays, advice, VSiN.com/newsletter. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. We've got Isaias Ramirez. We've got Ryan Smith, who's the greatest. He's running our YouTube at VSiN Live. Let's get to your calls. We're talking Rodgers. Rodgers went on with McAfee today. He's not happy with the Jets. He's not happy with something that's going on in his personal life. And the Steelers are like, uh-oh, because that's the team left standing. We say hi to George in Kansas City. George, welcome.
So, hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, got you, George. Go ahead, buddy.
All right. So I just have a thing just to discuss with about Rodgers. The thing about it is that if you think about it in 2011, Packers went close to breaking the record, right? So thinking about it, Rodgers falls in the footsteps of Favre. Why would you then want to try to go to the Jets to try to turn a franchise around as abysmal as the Jets are? Granted, they are a franchise that are in dire need of a quarterback. However, you stumbled into that situation. Now, in any case, he's not compared to Brady. Let's get that out of the way. But the fact of the matter is that you tried to build around Aaron Rodgers. Why are you doing that in the first place? Why are you trying to do that?
I'll say this, George. If it didn't work 2 years ago when he was 2 years younger, I don't know what the Steelers would be thinking 2 years later. Because if you used your eyes. Now, to be fair to Rodgers, his stats weren't terrible, but eyeballs showed you a different player. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Let's say hi. We just got a couple more calls in. Josh Applebaum. Art, Los Angeles, here at VSiN Live. What's up, Art?
Yo, my boys. Great to be on with you guys. So first, a couple of things, guys, before I get to Rodgers, because I thought that was absolute gold today. Reggie, I'd wait 1 hour to talk Aaron Rodgers. Dude, the way that you handled that guy was genius. Thank you so much. You gave him all the rope. And it was radio gold, dude.
He just got a little confused when he wanted to talk about the games that he was mad we weren't talking about. He got a little stuck there, but other than that, I enjoyed the conversation.
Sirius XM should take that call, parse it out, and market that like on the promos. That was great.
We enjoyed it.
But guys, so regarding Rodgers, look, I thought it was genius on his part to actually come out and say his side of the story, because it seems to me that it wasn't a New York Jets thing. It was more of an Aaron Glenn thing. Aaron Glenn basically came out and said, we're going in a different direction. And he's right. Look, you could have spared me the flight all the way from California to come all this way. And now he's got a platform and he's saying, look, Aaron Glenn did me wrong. I don't think it was the New York Jets. He didn't really go ham on the Jets. He praised the GM, said he had a great relationship with him, and he talked about the Pittsburgh thing. Look, if the Steelers don't want to sign him, they can come out and just say so. They're like, look, we're not in the Aaron Rodgers business. He's got some things going on. We're not going to wait for him. We're going to move on. And they're not doing that. So they're entertaining him. So that's on the Steelers too, guys.
No, it is. But one thing I'll disagree with. Good to hear from you, Art. One thing I will say is he was good PR for Aaron Glenn today, because Rodgers built the case that the one dude that stood up against him was Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Glenn needs to be known as a guy that's coming and setting the scene and culture with the Jets, a la Dan Campbell with the Lions. So I think he was a good PR person for Glenn today.
Yeah, as someone who is a follower with a weak backbone and no constitution, I can respect great leadership making a difficult decision, because a weak person in that spot would have gotten duped by the desperation and the need for a quarterback and wanting to have someone of that caliber play for them. That's all I'm saying there.
Why you got to take shots at yourself while taking shots at Rodgers?
Well, it's something Rodgers would never do.
That's true. Chicago, Jeff, VSiN Live. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
I just want to say I called yesterday on the Bulls. What a disappointment!
Disaster. That sucked.
I mean, I was waiting for them to get up, 4 or 5 points, gracefully to hedge. Never had a chance.
It was ugly. It was bad. It was ugly. I can't defend the pick.
And by the way, and now I question everything down the stretch about that team, whether it was real or not.
Well, I mean, watching Kobe White sitting back like in his chair, shoulders down, like I don't know what happened, dude. You didn't make a shot. I mean, that's what happened. So, anyways, loser. But I thought my calls, as I've been calling in the last couple of months, you guys are awesome. I thought, using, a bad word during a call was off limits. That guy changed the fucking the limits. I mean, yeah, I didn't know this was political. But anyways, Dustin, I love you, man. NBA playoffs, best bet tomorrow. What are you thinking? Series prices or best bet tomorrow, money line or over under?
Yeah, we're going to get to those with Josh in 1 second. We got one more call, and we're going to do that. Steve in South Carolina here on VSiN Live. Hi, Steve.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Steve. What's up?
Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
I think Aaron Rodgers lives in the same world as John Morant lives in. And that world is they don't know what the real world is. Take your money, go away, because the spotlight is not going to be on you anymore. And when everybody gives him an opportunity bad, make you feel bad for him, that stick is gone long time ago. I praise Aaron Glenn. I hate the Jets. Sorry. But for him to stand up and make that statement did volumes for the Jets organization.
Totally agree. I think he becomes. Thank you for the call. I think he's the winner. I think Glenn is the winner. Let's bring in. Hey, you know what, Ja Morant. The comparison is interesting because just the lack of awareness is astounding. Ja Morant was told, we don't want you doing, because remember, Ja Morant had the gun issue. I'm not going to judge the guy. He had the gun issue, so then he's celebrating by firing rifles and machine guns into the crowd. The NBA said, probably not the best look. And he was like, cool, hold my beer. I'm going to throw grenades into the crowd, which shows you're probably not ready to be elite, like probably not there, or just a lack of awareness. I think he would, at the very least, Dustin would call it a lack of awareness. No?
Yeah, and not understanding why you're the person who probably the least in the NBA can get away with that stuff right now.
Yeah, it's a rough look. And so, yeah, now Rodgers isn't doing a machine gun celebration, but he is throwing a grenade on his career.
He's definitely throwing a grenade.
Oh, what up, Josh Applebaum? It's our buddy and kind to us. Don't worry, we're gonna stretch your time. We appreciate your patience. VSiN betting analyst, All Systems Go is the podcast, and he's got his brand new book coming out in August, and you can pre-order it right now on Amazon. We'll get to the title and everything in just a second. But the Rodgers drama, we started there. He went on McAfee today. As a bettor, if he does go to Pittsburgh, what do you do with that?
Yeah, so I can just tell you, Patrick, Dustin, great to be with you. I am just sick and tired of all the Aaron Rodgers stuff. I mean, the guy who thinks he's accomplished a lot, but he's always been, to me, a selfish player who isn't about winning. It's about the accolades. It's about the awards. It's the spotlight. I watched his Enigma documentary on Netflix, which was kind of interesting. But still, this is just
produced, by the way.
Yeah, weird dude. All the power to you. You want to trip on ayahuasca, however you pronounce it, Patrick? Hey, maybe you can.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah, meet God or whatever. But I don't know. If I'm the Steelers, I get it. You have this huge. I blame the Steelers in a way, Patrick and Dustin, because they set themselves up where they need him. And you never want to be in a position with Aaron Rodgers where the team needs you. He preys on that. He loves when a team is going to, kiss his butt, tell him how great he is, tell him how much they need him. To me, that's a position that you don't want to put yourself in. So the Steelers, to me, are a very well-run organization historically. I'm surprised they didn't make a move to protect themselves a bit. Like, you bring in Mason Rudolph again, but he's not a starter. He's a decent backup. My one angle here is, where does this play in the NFL draft with Jackson Dart? You've heard Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss kind of skyrocket up these latest round of mock drafts. You actually had, I believe it was Chris Sims or someone else, maybe it was McShay, who actually had Dart like maybe 8th overall, like leapfrogging Shedeur Sanders. So with that being said, I dialed up the latest betting odds here. Jackson Dart's over under draft position is 24.5, and you've seen the under get steamed up quite a bit over the last couple of days. It's now 24.5 under minus 155, and I believe the Steelers are picking 21st, 22nd, somewhere below 24th. That could make some sense. Now, do you want to throw him right in and start him right away? Probably not, but I think you don't want to go into the year either depending on Rodgers or depending on Mason Rudolph. My angle would be, is this a play to take Jackson Dart's under 24.5? I'm thinking I might do that.
Great.
That's a good call. I'm at a point with a conspiracy with the Steelers guys where I'm like, you know what? They should draft a quarterback in round 1, a quarterback in round 2, and screw it. Take a quarterback in round 3. Just see if you can find someone, because that entire roster, that's all they are away. Meanwhile, the Jets are 16-1 to win their own division, Josh. Let's just talk from a football perspective. Based on what you saw from Aaron Rodgers last season with the Jets, do you believe he should be a starting quarterback in the NFL right now?
So it's funny, when Aaron Rodgers played the Patriots earlier in the year, Patriots got blown out. I remember it was like a Thursday night game. Rodgers looked amazing, looked like the old Rodgers. And that I'm like, okay, he's still got it, coming off the injury when he's running out with a flag and, first or second play, he tears his Achilles. But then, throughout the year, the eye test tells you that he's still got it, but then he doesn't move as well. If you look at his stats, though, I think, Patrick, you made a really good point. His stats looked actually pretty decent. He had 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He threw for nearly 4,000 yards. I think there's a place in the NFL, obviously, for Rodgers, but also on McAfee said, I'll take 10 million. Like, his days of making these exorbitant 30, 50 million a year, that's gone. If he can, be a little cheaper, I think there's an opportunity for him to play. I hate the guy, the player. He may still have a little bit left.
He might be right. Look, eyeball test, he didn't quite pass it, but the numbers are very good. And if they could build an offense around him, more of the conversation today was just the absurdity of the theater that continues to follow this guy, because it's at least we can all agree he isn't the Rodgers of 5 years ago. So that's why all the drama doesn't equal what he is as a player at this point.
Look, I've never owned a business before. I've never negotiated like that. But if he's saying I would take just 10 million, okay, what's the other best offer right now, Aaron? The Pittsburgh Steelers should be able to get you for league minimum at this point. I don't know what he's saying. I'll take 10 million. There's no other offers to compare against. You'll take what the Steelers will give you.
It's the same thing as Pete Carroll. It's the same thing as, people in radio that we've discussed. When you get to a point in your career where you'll pay for people to have you, Rodgers would pay the Steelers to play for them. He doesn't need to make any money. He's
hurt his ego.
It's about his legacy at this point. He doesn't need money. Anyway, great job with I did not know that McShay had Dart above Sanders.
Yeah, it was McShay. It's one of these guys, but yeah, he had him drafted really high. And I think, Dart's a guy who you didn't really hear much of early on, but, working with Lane Kiffin and, really good metrics, I guess he did well in the combine. Maybe he's a guy that's moving up the board. And also you're thinking in particular with Shedeur Sanders, like Sanders is a guy that looks to me like he's slipping right now, guys. If you look at his draft position right now, it's still 8.5, but it's really, really juiced up toward the over. Like I believe it is now at this point over 8.5 minus 350. You did think at 8, there's an opportunity there for the Saints, who, Derek Carr, you heard he has an injury, so they could be looking at a quarterback as well. But then you are hearing people, and again, here's the thing, like this, a week out of the draft, like, is this BS? Is this smokescreen stuff, or is this real leaking out? That's something you got to ask yourself. But Shedeur Sanders, some players or some, kind of scouts and team officials are saying they don't even have a first round grade on Shedeur Sanders. So again, is that smokescreen to hope that he falls, that a team can pick him up and kind of scoop up him low, buy low on him? Or is it truly, you hear a lot, he's a good passer, he's tough, he's accurate, but he's not a great athlete, which is kind of a weird explanation for, the son of Dion. You would expect him to be a great athlete. But again, Sanders is dropping, Dart is rising. That's something you got to keep an eye out between now and next Thursday when the draft hits.
Yeah, and following the news, and that's all you can do when it comes to the draft, is there's potentially more quarterbacks going in this first round. So I'm just curious, Josh, because the numbers are always moving. The market's crazy with the draft. And in Vegas, the odds don't come out early enough to really get a jump on things. However, around the country, a lot of people can bet and get in early. I'm curious your strategy for betting the draft. How early are you willing to get in? Because it feels like if you're willing to take chances early, you only need a few of those risks to be correct. And after the adjustment, you can lock in some money. What's your general strategy when it comes to the draft?
So I personally, Dustin, love betting the NFL draft, and there was a great interview. It was with Derek Stevens and VSiN of last year, where Derek Stevens said something like, "I hate booking the NFL draft because it's really hard to set these numbers. They move really, really quickly and drastically based upon mock drafts. So if a bookmaker is telling me they don't like booking it, and you hear a lot of sharps who like betting it, that tells me that there's an opportunity there to take advantage of. So one thing that I like to do is, if you haven't bet, like, let's say, for example, Cam Ward, like a month ago, a month and a half ago, he was like minus 150 to go first overall. Like, if you put that in and now he's minus 20,000, like, you're feeling great. Like, if you're beating closing lines on plays that you've already made, I think you're just going to ride that out. To me, though, in the last week, I'm going to really look at the latest movement possible. Like, example from a few years ago, Derek Stingley Jr., I believe he was second or third overall, but entering the day of the draft, he was like plus 1,000. Throughout the day, he got down to plus 500, plus 200. He flipped to a minus number. Like, if you just stare at these odds late and you have the ability to get down before they move too much, that to me is when it's not just a hunch, but is there word leaking out amongst these teams? Like, did someone tell someone that, hey, we're drafting this guy? It leaked out, some wise guy has a source play that is moving the markets. That's something I'd look toward. But my biggest tip, if you want to bet the NFL draft, is right now, a week out, like, go to your sports book. I'm looking at DraftKings right now and just screenshot all the odds. Like, just have a reference point so that between now and over the next couple days, you can just see kind of which direction the line is moving. Like, as of now, we have some huge favorites. Ward number 1, Travis Hunter's now minus 800 to go number 2, Abdul Carter's minus 550 to go 3, Patriots Will Campbell minus 225 if they don't trade out. I'd look toward the 5th pick. Like, right now, Mason Graham is minus 110 to go 5th overall to the Jags. That's a very bettable number. Second best odds would be Ashton Genty plus 380, Jalen Walker plus 450. So my angle here is, Mason Graham minus 110 is a pretty good number, but I want to wait and see if he goes up to minus 120, minus 130, and then hopefully grab him before that number becomes too expensive. And then if you look at even further down the board, you can look at some of these guys who have a draft position of like minus 110 both sides. So for example, if you look at Mason, or Graham's not a good example. He's minus 115 both sides. But if you look at a guy like who is it? James Pierce Jr. From Tennessee, the linebacker. His draft position is 31.5. It's minus 110 both sides. So I like the basically the pick'em type draft positions, and then you just kind of see which way the wind blows and try to pick it off before it moves too much versus, laying a huge number that's probably going to hit. But if you're laying minus 1,000, you're really not getting anything back.
No, it's great. But I love the idea of screenshotting because it's so hard to follow the constant movement and the extreme movement as well. Josh Applebaum joining us, regular spot here on a Thursday. Hey, boys, where is Genty's draft position right now? I don't know, Dustin, if you have it in front of you, but I wanted to have this conversation because Genty, the running back out of Boise State, the resurgence of the running back last year and just the perceptive weakness of this draft, I think somebody is going to move up, or they're already sitting there and take a shot. Go ahead, Dustin.
Draft position is 6.5.
Okay,
so
it's lower than I thought.
But that's because it's the Raiders, it's the Bears, and potentially a team wanting to trade up and get a running back that could be a difference maker. I mean,
are the Raiders and Bears?
I believe, what are the Raiders? 7, I want to say. Let me just check the order real quick. It's 6. Raiders are 6. So
I don't think they pass on them.
It is juiced heavily under 6.5 minus 150 because the expectation is Las Vegas does take him.
Josh, I just feel like somebody's going to make a move because we had a guy on the other day that said the scouts are saying, or the organizations are saying, if Genty's healthy, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think Dane Brugler with The Athletic, some guy I really respect him. He was on a Boston sports radio station the other day, and he was comparing Ashton Genty to LaDainian Tomlinson. So, like, if you're getting those kind of comparisons, obviously, it speaks very highly to his, pro performance or what you can expect of him. Dustin's totally right. That 6.5 is really juiced under -150. I'll give you guys a little bit of a rumor. Could be total BS, but you know me, I'm in New England. I'm a Patriots guy. I'm wondering who they're going to take fourth overall. You're hearing it's going to be Will Campbell. The odds say it's going to be Will Campbell. There's questions about his arm length and all that. But recently, Colton Miller, the tackle from the Raiders, he's on the last year of his deal, I believe, and he has not talked to the team about a restructure or an extension. So basically, putting two and two together, there's rumors of like, do the Patriots trade for Colton Miller? They need a tackle in dire need of one. And do you take Ashton Genty, number 4? Now you have Drake May with a better line, Genty at running back. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled a lot last year. Again, you're going to hear a lot of stuff thrown against the wall right now. But as a Patriots fan, I'd rather have Colton Miller and Ashton Genty than just take Will Campbell.
Oh yeah. The Will Campbell thing is fascinating just because like no tackle has been successful in the NFL with the measurements that he had at the combine in terms of arm length. So he's probably going to move to guard. Do you take a guard that high? Yeah, I totally agree. It feels like every year too, Josh, we should always bet over offensive linemen taken in the first round. I believe the number is 6.5. Over is juiced at +135. When you look at those markets, was there anything that jumped out to you with the draft when it comes to position, the number of how many you're going to go in the first round?
Yeah, definitely, Dustin. I think that's obviously a money-making opportunity instead of just, betting on a specific player, draft position, or number. You're looking at just the overall, accumulation of those positions combined. You mentioned the offensive lineman with the under 6.5 -175. So as of now, they're thinking it's going to be 6 or less. The quarterback one is interesting, over 2.5. You're probably definitely going to get that with Cam Ward and Shador and Jackson Dart and some of these guys. But here's the thing, over 2.5 is -450 at DraftKings. So even though that's likely to happen, again, that's too expensive for me. Couple that I'd be looking at, running backs are kind of interesting, like 2.5. You're going to get Genty, you're going to get Omarion Hampton. Do you get anyone aside from that? The under 2.5 is -210. The over 2.5 is +165. That could be worth a look. And then also, if you look at total defensive linemen or edges in the first round, it's 8.5 right now. The over is -180. So when I'm betting these props, like, a lot of bettors are going to say, give me plus money, just because it's almost like the Super Bowl prop bet. Like, if I'm going to bet something, I want to bet $1 and make much more than $1. Pros aren't worried about laying minus numbers, but I don't want to go above like -200, guys. I know there's, some people will argue with you if it's -300 and you have it priced at -400, let it ride. That's a good play. But when the limits are low, again, when it's kind of harder to get down on some of these bets, I'm trying not to go above like -200 with some of these plays.
Josh, Dustin, have they adjusted to 2.5? I know it was heavily juiced to the over on the quarterbacks. Josh, did they adjust that, or is it still 2.5?
Still 2.5, but yeah, -450, Patrick. I want to say it was
they won't move that number, John. They don't want to play.
So again, the other thing though is I'm giving you DraftKings. Again, shop around, like another book, Caesars, BetMGM, whoever, FanDuel, they might be giving you a better price. And you can even look for arbitrage opportunities where like you get one book has a 24.5 juiced plus money over, another one has 24.5 juiced plus money under. You can bet both sides and guarantee a profit.
And between now and this time next week, you expect this to get pretty steamy, right? A lot of movement, because that's when the rumors start. Teams talking about trading up, trading down. I remember last year there was a lot of heavy rumors about the Raiders trying to trade up for Penix. That never actually happened. Then there was rumors the Rams wanted to trade up for Brock Bowers. They couldn't get a deal done. So this is the time where these numbers could be on the move between now and next week, right, Josh?
Yeah, huge movement, Dustin. I mean, and that's the thing, like, as a guy who likes to stare at numbers, as nerdy and boring as that sounds, like, it's kind of a great time to be looking at these numbers just because they move so much and you want to ideally identify the trend line and then go bet it at a book that hasn't adjusted yet. But then the other thing is, Patrick, you say this all the time, timing and temperament. It can't be more important with timing right now to get these bets in before they move too much, because again, you could be looking at, a guy going under 15.5. 1 minute it's -150, the next it's -300. So it's not just about identifying the direction of the steam, but getting it before it moves too much.
The only thing Josh likes more than staring at numbers is staring at steamy numbers.
Oh yeah.
When they get
Where's
steam,
that steam, the locomotive steam graphic, Patrick, from the Lombardi line? We got to bring that back.
Des Moines. Those are the days. Woof. We made it. You know what I'm saying, Josh? All right.
By the way, real quick, have you been paying attention to Bill Belichick and his girlfriend at UNC and what's been happening?
I mean, listen, I'm going to be straight up with you. That is not going to end well. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to do shtick. She is CC'd on every email. She's replying to emails with how they should, quote, move forward. And they have a reality TV. I believe they have a reality TV production following them around. So, listen, love is love, you know? That's all.
Hey, AJ, nothing but a number, Patrick.
Well, it is, but, you know, love is love. Josh, what's the book coming out in August? You can pre-order it right now. Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, it's called the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook. I'm really excited. It comes out August 12th. If you want to support the book and pre-order a copy on Amazon.com, you would make my day. And I'm just excited because this is something I've been working on for quite a while. Patrick, I've been kind of working on this since Lombardi line days. That's how long we've been working on this thing. So it's really just gives you the blueprint of how to read the market, betting system matches, how to go contrarian, and then getting into prop bets and bankroll management and all the things we talk about. So really excited. And of course, you guys will be getting your signed copies before you know it.
Well, I'm proud of you. Go pre-order the book right now. Josh Applebaum, VSiN betting analyst. All systems go, as well as the podcast at Josh_insights for information. Thank you, Josh. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to it.
You're the best. From the draft and the betting angle to the actual scouting, we're going to be joined by David Syverston next. Our lads, they do a great job. We're back. Sharp Money.
All right, 4 minutes.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. There really isn't anybody better when it comes to the draft than our lads. And the Our Lads draft guide is on sale now. You can get Our Lads Insider for free right now, which gives you free access to the website and transaction wire. So again, ourlads.com. David Syverston, Our Lads Scouting Service Senior Scout at ourlads_side joins us now. David, thank you so much, man. We appreciate the time. The draft, we get into the draft. It's exciting. It's a spectacle. The NFL just does it right. We'll get to the Giants and all that drama. Well, let's just start with one overall because there's been mixed reviews on Cam Ward. I'm curious. He is going to go one overall to the Titans. Do you think he should go one overall to the Titans?
I do. The value of the position means a lot, and Cam Ward grades out well enough to say, hey, you're a high first-round pick. Is he on par with what we saw last year in Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, even J.J. McCarthy, who I was personally high on? He is not in that top 4, but he's in that discussion to be the number 4 guy in that class. And you could make an argument he could have leapfrogged J.J. McCarthy on my board, but he's not touching the top 3 of May, Daniels, and Williams. But he is a high enough grade to say, hey, he's a quarterback. We don't have one. Let's take him at number one overall and roll with him for the next 5 years.
What about the skill set? What do you see from him as a quarterback that you think works well at the next level?
He's a creator in every sense of the word. He can create with his arm. He's not the best athlete, but he does create with his legs. Very slippery but sturdy body against the pass rush. And the amount of tackles that he can break, we see Patrick Mahomes do this a lot. Very similar body type and very contact balance in that they make sacks miss, and it creates opportunities for him to do some work with his arm outside the pocket. He's a very creative with his arm angles. He'll make very brave throws into traffic because he can anticipate and he knows where the ball's going. But the issue with him is that he's still a little sloppy. He looks like exactly what he was, a 0-star recruit that threw the ball 12 times a game as a high school senior in a wing T offense that nobody wanted out of high school. Started off at Incarnate Word, goes to Washington State, ends up at Miami. And you can see there's still some of that backyard football in him. That needs to be coached out. But when he plays on time and his mechanics are on point, there's not a throw he cannot make.
David, and you should listen to David when it comes to quarterbacks. He had Jaden Daniels as his QB1 last year. Not many did. Obviously, Caleb was QB1 on everybody's board. I'll just say this about Jaden. I wasn't as high. I'll say if he stays healthy, he's going to Canton. I've never seen anything like what I literally have never seen, whether it's the poise, whether it's the accuracy. He wasn't even playing with talent offensively. He went to Detroit that playoff game and well outplayed Jared Goff. Just incredible. So props to you on Jaden. Did you see Jaden being as good as he was? I mean, that's probably incomprehensible, right?
I mean, we had just borderline all-pro grade on him. So I hate to say it, but yeah, we saw that he could be this good, and there was a lot to his game. I would say the biggest negative that we had on him that did knock down the grade was the body type. I mean, that does scare me still a little bit. He's a thin guy, and every time Dexter Lawrence lands on top of him, you're crossing your fingers hoping he stands up. But that's if you can touch him. And he's as quick and agile as he is fast, and he's got 4.3 speed. So we did have an all-pro projection. How quickly he did it, nobody saw that coming. If they did say they saw that coming, they're lying.
Okay, so he went number 2. He was the second quarterback taken. Yeah. My question is, who is your QB2 in this class behind Cam Ward, and how big is that drop-off from Cam Ward to whoever QB2 is here?
I mean, it's big enough that I wouldn't touch any other quarterback in the first round. And I have felt that way since the summer. And I gave these guys a shot. I watched every snap of all these quarterbacks dating back. I started in September. I didn't start the reports in January, February like I did last year. And I really got ahead of it and stayed ahead of it. And at no point did I see these guys as like, hey, I want that guy in the first round. I want him to carry my offense. I think he can make others better. I don't see it in Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart. They're kind of tied. They're in the same tier for me in that tier 2, but I would not touch them in the first round. They are day 2 quarterbacks to me, and a day 2 quarterback to me is, hey, I hope he can start at some point. He has some things I like that could turn into a starting quarterback, but I don't want to bet my mortgage on it. I'd rather build the rest of the roster with my first round pick and then maybe go into day 2. And if he's still there, I'll take that jab.
David Cyberston, Our Lads Scouting Service Senior Scout. Our Lads Draft Guide is on sale now. It's great. You guys should check it out. David, 2 overall. It looks like it's going to be Travis Hunter. If you were the Browns and you drafted Travis Hunter, how would you use him?
Since day one, I've been saying this. He's a wide receiver to me. He is what you see out of Justin Jefferson and Garrett Wilson kind of cloned into one guy. That's the kind of player I think he can play. He can be at the next level. Another reason why I like wide receiver as his dominant or predominant position in the NFL, you get to control a lot more when you're on the offensive side of the ball. When he's playing defense, you are reacting to what the offense throws your way. They can run the ball down your throat as an outside corner over and over with the amount of teams that like to run wide zone. And Travis Hunter, he's not the biggest dude. He has missed games multiple years, multiple times. And that scares me a little bit, that you lose some control when you put him on the defensive side of the ball. Where on offense, you can control his touches a little bit easier. You can use him as a decoy. His presence on the field will change what the defense does. And this is an explosive play era of NFL football. It correlates to wins as much as turnovers now. And Travis Hunter, to me, is an explosive vertical threat in the passing game. We've seen him do it. But when he gets the ball, I mean, he's hard to touch, let alone take down, if you give him enough opportunities. So there's just so many things you can do with him on the offensive side of the ball. And what he did, knowing that he was also splitting snaps as a corner in practice and in training, I mean, I think the sky is the limit. I think Travis Hunter can be one of the best, if not the best receivers in the game. And I will take a receiver over a corner any day of the week because of how much you get to control.
How would you grade Travis Hunter out as a corner? Would he be your cornerback 1 in this class?
He is my cornerback 1 in this class, which is just unbelievable to say. And that's why I do think he does deserve the generational label next to him. It's one of the most overused terms in evaluation. I think I've used it twice in my history of scouting. Once with Myles Garrett and once was with Calvin Johnson. I've never used generational before other than that. I think I'm going to use that with Travis Hunter because he is the number 1 corner in this class that does lack a little bit of star power at the top. But his ball skills, his feel, and his movement traits, you mesh all of that together in combination with quality tape against good receivers. I think this is the kind of kid that could go out and give you 10 to 20 snaps in addition to playing receiver, and he's probably your number 2 corner on the team. He could play the slot, he could play the outside, but he's still a little rough around the edges in terms of techniques and footwork and turning your back a little too soon to the quarterback. And I think that it can actually rear its ugly head at the next level a little easier than what it would in college.
David, tell me everything I need to know about Ashton Jeanty, the running back.
He has a PhD in breaking tackles. I mean, that is the trait that I think translates to the NFL as much as anything, is can you break tackles and create on your own after contact? And offensive line play in the NFL, we know it's not great. And you don't really get to control where he's going to go, but you're going to have to create on your own. And I think that's what he did at a high level. I mean, I think it was 137 broken tackles this year, guys. I've never seen anything near that. And I think the intangibles are off the charts too. He's got no diva in him. He's there to play ball. I don't know if you guys saw the letter that he wrote owners to all 32 teams. And that's the story that I had on him last year, was that he's just a different dude. He had offers in NIL to transfer out of Boise State. He chose loyalty over money. And I think you're also just getting that really safe feel to, hey, if we can do enough around him, if we can build a good enough offense, we have a Saquon Barkley caliber player in our locker room. And I hope that whoever gets him can prove the notion that you can draft a running back without an elite quarterback and still build a quality offense. I still, I get killed for this all the time, but hey, I'm stubborn, right? Saquon Barkley was not the wrong pick for the Giants in 2018. What failed was what they did after picking him. They constantly swung and missed in the draft. They swung and missed in free agency. If you get Ashton Jeanty, you have that young running back that you can build your offense around, but the job is not done. You have to have the support around him. But if you do, he's a special player.
Well, speaking of the Giants, right now in the market, Abdul Carter out of Penn State is the favorite to go number 3. The Giants still hold on to the number 3 pick in the draft at minus 550 for Carter right now. What do you think of the player in Carter, and does he fit what the Giants need right now?
Tell you what, the Giants, they got leapfrogged by Dallas to take Micah Parsons, and they had a shot at getting up and going to get him. And I can't see them letting this happen again. Different owner, sorry, not different ownership, different leadership in the front office, yes, different coaching staff and different scheme. But Abdul Carter is the kind of guy that gives the Giants an identity. The Giants have not had an identity in I don't know how long. It's been a decade. The back nine of Eli's career, the bad offensive lines, the inconsistent defense, and to me, they put a lot of resources into the defensive side of the ball this offseason. Cornerback Paulson Adebo, safety Javon Holland. They have an all-pro in Dexter Lawrence. They made the big move for Brian Burns. They drafted Kayvon Thibodeau. And this is what makes Pittsburgh, a team like Pittsburgh, who does not have a quality quarterback in a long time, competitive every year, is they built the identity on the defensive side of the ball, and that it kind of just raises the floor of this team. And I think Abdul Carter, you put him in this front and you move him around in a division where you need someone to spy these mobile quarterbacks. We just got done talking about how special Jaden Daniels is. Well, you know how to stop Jaden Daniels? You get an Abdul Carter to chase him and follow him around the field and beat him up and get him on the ground as often as possible. So that is a no-brainer to me if the Giants stay at 3, taking Abdul Carter that would add identity to this defense.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels did it with Brian Robinson. Yeah, one wide receiver. He was throwing to Zach Ertz, people. I mean, it's unbelievable. Anyway, David, I'll throw it to both of you on this one because you guys said you're Giants. You both like the Giants. They control this draft.
They do.
What will the Giants? I guess I can't say what will the Giants do. Can they get creative here at 3?
I think the creativity would be from a trade down, maybe later into the top 10. If someone really wants to sell, the future for an Abdul Carter, similar to what the Texans got from, was it the Cardinals? When the Texans traded up with the Cardinals for Will Anderson, could you see a team like that come in for Abdul Carter? I could see that. So that would be the creativity in a trade down. Another option could be stay at 3, and the creativity can come later in the first round and trade up from 34 overall into the back half of the first round for a quarterback that falls. And I do think there is a shot we see Shedeur Sanders drop out of the top 10, top 15. And, there are rumors this team there are likers of Jalen Milroe in that building. And, Jalen Milroe is showing up to the draft in Green Bay in person. There's got to be some intel there that someone's going to make a move up for him. And it could easily be the Giants. I think that is where you would find the creativity.
Yes. All right. We're on the same page here. I thought we might be. I've been pounding the table. I want Jalen Milroe. Okay. Especially with the 2 veterans there. You mix in the packages, you bring him along, you scheme him up like Philly did with Jalen Hurts, because I think he's similar to Hurts. He's not accurate. Hurts is not really an accurate thrower, but you can scheme him up and the mobility is off the charts. When you evaluate Jalen Milroe and the upside and you compare it to Shedeur Sanders, you compare it to Jackson Dart, how would you project all 3 of those quarterbacks?
It's really tough to compare them. You evaluate and grade them, but they're just such different players. I mean, Jalen Milroe is the only quarterback in this class that has an electric trait. And, these passers, Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, they're solid. They have solid arms, solid accuracy, solid ball placement, but nothing about their game is electric. Jalen Milroe is electric when he gets out into the open field. I mean, he's easily one of the best athletes in the NFL, not just among quarterbacks. He is legitimately Lamar Jackson, Mike Vick caliber athlete with the ball in his hand. But the problem is, I mean, he still seems like he's on JV when it comes to playing quarterback and beating teams from the pocket. And as electric as he is with his arm, he still needs to raise that floor, and he just did not make that jump. And I get worried about watching him. I saw him live at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and it looked like he was making a position change to quarterback when it came to taking snaps under center, when it came to the footwork of handing the ball off. He just seems so far away, but I have a 4th round grade on him, but I would be excited if he was a round 2 pick because there is something that he has that nobody else can touch. If you can get this kid from a 4 out of 10 to just a 7 out of 10 passer, you have a special player that you can build your system around.
Is Jackson Dart going to be an NFL starter?
He will get a shot. There's no question in my mind. I could see him going to New Orleans at 9, but that would be rushing it. But I'll tell you what, I didn't see Bo Nix and Michael Penix going as early as they did last year, especially Penix. all it takes is one team, and this is an NFL that I think everyone's shopping hungry right now. You go to the grocery store and they're starving, and it just kind of forces you into decisions that you probably shouldn't make long term, but hey, you're trying to satisfy the moment. And I think that's where the NFL lives right now. And that's why I think he'll be a first rounder. But I do think we'll see him get a similar shot to what we've seen Will Levis get in Tennessee. That, hey, he might not be the week one answer for a team in 2025, but the plan of drafting him will be that we're going to give him a shot at some point. I do think we'll see him as a starter.
David, what do you make of the Tyler Shuck talk that he's potentially a first rounder? I watch a lot of college football, and I've been watching Tyler Shuck play college football for a long time. He was recruited with Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, who are both on second contracts in the NFL, and he's about to get drafted. Do you buy the hype that he's a potential first rounder, the QB out of Louisville?
Yeah, I think I might have been in junior high when he started his career. He was Justin Herbert's backup back in the day at Oregon. Just think about that for a sec. But no, I don't buy into it. I think he's a fifth or sixth rounder. I think he's got a talented arm. His highlight reel is a lot of fun to watch. And unfortunately, I think that's where a lot of people get their evaluations from. If you put his 10 best throws on tape, they are really impressive. I mean, something that you were like, ooh, I want to go watch this guy more. And if you actually follow through with that and watch him more, not just watch the highlights, you'll see that, I mean, the batting average is very low. If you're going to talk about success rate, especially when he throws the ball down the field, and especially when he has to deal with pressure in the pocket. There's just a lot of Jekyll and Hyde to him. And, if you're going to spend 7 years in college and one of them is okay, I'm usually going to look the other way.
Yeah, I think that head coach that told Diana Rossini that he would take Shuck over Ward, I think he might have been having a cocktail and watching YouTube one night. He saw that. I'm not judging. I do it. But he saw the highlight, and he's just like, that Shuck's got a cannon. All right. Listen, our lads, you guys do an amazing job. The Our Lads draft guide is on sale now. You can also get Our Lads Insider for free right now, which is a great deal, which gives you free access to the website and transactions wire. So it's ourlads.com. David Syverston at ourlads_Cy. That was awesome, man. Thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate you.
No problem, guys. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to you next time. All right.
Okay. Wonderful. Look forward to it. Good stuff. The Ward stuff continues to fascinate me because he is going to go 1 overall. His comp on Ward was Steve McNair. Okay.
Which is, look,
we can you'd like that if you were the Titans. It's obviously synergy as well.
Yeah, I understand why people love Cam Ward. I just don't think his ceiling is that of what we normally see from the number one quarterback. That's all. I think he's a starter. I think he's a smart quarterback. I think he understands how to play the position. I don't think he's the freaky athlete that he's being billed as being at the next level.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Going grocery shopping hungry is an interesting way of looking at somebody like the Titans taking Ward 1 overall. When we come back, wait till you hear what the Browns GM had to say about Travis Hunter. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
April is NFL Draft Month on NBC Sports Radio, SiriusXM Channel 85. Throughout the month, PFT Live, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, and Fantasy Football Happy Hour bring you insider access news, analysis, player interviews, rankings, mock drafts, and more leading up to draft day. Plus, expert post-draft analysis and reaction. Damn. NFL Draft Month on NBC Sports Radio, Channel 85 in the car or on the SiriusXM app. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Dustin Swedelson. I'm Patrick Meagher, Ryan Smith over there running our YouTube. It is youtube.com/VSiN Live. Hit us with a subscription. We appreciate it. A lot of great content outside of this show. They've got the, Road to the Kentucky Derby with the boys, content constantly being posted on the VSiN YouTube page. Get involved in the algo. Isaiah Ramirez also in the mix, New York City. Let's hear from Andrew Berry. You want to set this up, big guy? Listen, Travis Hunter is going to go 2 overall to the Browns. He's minus 800, so you got to lay $8 to win $1. You want to set up the clip here?
Yeah, so the GM of the Browns obviously picking where they are at number 2. They hold the cards, and they have the option of Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. And he was asked, Andrew Berry, about Hunter and how you would deploy him at the next level in the NFL.
It's a little bit like Ohtani, right? Where, when he's playing one side, he's an outstanding player. If he's a pitcher, he's a hitter, he's an outstanding player. You obviously get a unicorn if you use them both ways.
So the sales job is on. If you don't look, you want free money, you got to lay out a lot. But if the general manager is comparing Travis Hunter to Shohei Ohtani, he's going to take him.
If you're comparing anyone to Shohei Ohtani, you better not pass up on him, because then you're an idiot who settled for the next best thing other than a generational freak. And that's what he is. Barry did go on to talk about Hunter playing corner, playing receiver. What are they going to do? This is what he had to say.
He has a number of rare qualities, but probably the rarest is his ability with the ball, his ball skills. And, we would want to put him in a position that maximizes that ability.
I mean, he's literally saying that he's literally saying this is why the draft, this is why bookmakers hate booking the draft, because they'll set limits, but the general manager of the Browns just said, when we draft him, I'm taking liberty. But he essentially, if you read between, when we draft him, we're going to get the ball in his hands. That is, they're drafting him.
But he's also now cornered himself, because he now has to draft Travis Hunter. Because if Travis Hunter ends up being as good as he's saying he's going to be on another team, you have to fire your GM. Simple as, like, you can't go let someone else get a player that you're raving this much about. And if then that isn't the case, then you come across as a liar. You're lying about how you feel about Travis Hunter, and you're trying to manipulate the market. So he's cornered himself. He has to take Travis Hunter.
Nobody wants to be a lying liar. But yeah, you're right. You do give up a little bit of leverage, right? If you wanted to get busy.
Yeah,
because you get desperate.
You could be playing a game with the Giants right now, being like, yeah, we like Carter, we like Hunter. If you like either one, come get it.
Exactly. Our buddy Jonathan Von Tobel is going to join us next. He's part of the family. It's my guy. JVT, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
How about a little heat check on the big guy? Are you still atop the leaderboard over at VSiN.com/picks?
No. Last week was like, it was epic. It was like a 2-18 week over there. This week's been a little bit better, but last night didn't help with all the prop bets on that Mavericks Kings game because none of them came home.
Well, he'll be back up there, big guy. I believe in you. And you right now, we've got a special deal. Can get 24/7 sports betting coverage on channel 158 and the SiriusXM app. As an exclusive offer for you, SiriusXM listeners, you can get full VSiN Pro access through August 1st for just $19. It gets you a daily email with all the best bets, including Jonathan Von Tobel. Exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa Sportsbook, plus our Kentucky Derby betting guide, NFL betting guide when it drops this summer. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS to lock in the special offer. VSiN, the sports betting network. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now, our next guest is, I mentioned, part of the family, a friend. One thing I will say about Jonathan Von Tobel, VSiN host, senior NBA analyst, of course. I know that Dustin really cares about him as a friend. But, Dustin, you need to be honest before we say hi to Jonathan. If Jonathan, now you mentioned you're a disaster right now. You're probably last place on the picks list. That's okay.
Yes.
If Jonathan were in the top 3, I want you to be honest. Would you be happy for him?
I'd only be happy for him because it would then motivate me to try and pass him. That's all.
Friendship.
Like how it affects me. How it affects me. Like it always comes back to how it affects me. Like it's the narcissism, unfortunately, but it's there. It's deep. I've been working on it, but it unfortunately rears its ugly head in this situation. If JVT was number 2 or 3, knowing that I would talk to him during the week, yes, I would like to be ahead of him.
Do you share his sentiment, or are you excited for Dustin when he's killing it on the
being on that board registers with me as much as an ant farting into the wind. So if it makes Dustin happy, then I'm happy for him.
Look, we're built different. I like attention. I like people to tell me I'm doing great. And here, hold on. But here's the grand irony. I've been atop that leaderboard a lot. No one's ever said, "Hey, man, you're doing great." Yet I still try to achieve this.
But Jonathan's point is that's why it's an ant farting into the wind. Yet you still hang your hat on it. Maybe we can do some therapy right now.
I mean, sure, we can hash this out. Like, why wouldn't I just want to bet for my own competitiveness, for my own bank account?
Dustin, look, I'm going to interrupt you. I think you need to hear this. Dustin, you're good at what you do.
There you go.
You're good at what you do. You don't need the what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. You don't need it, right? The acceptance of everybody else. You don't need to hear it from everybody. You don't need it. You're good at what you do. You don't need it.
No, but here's the real psychological issue though at hand, because you're my friend. You're going to tell me that Patrick is my friend.
It's not true. I criticize you when it's. I'll remember. Do you remember? So there was one time, Patrick, we did a show together. I actually think I told Patrick about this, where I'll criticize you when you need to. One of the first shows we did together on VSiN, like in the opening block, you called me Jonathan. And during the break, I go, "Don't ever call me that again. You never call me that. Why would you do that? You don't need to be over the top pro host. Don't ever do that again." And you stopped doing it. I criticize you when needed.
But again, the reason I did that is the same people who I'm looking to give me the adulation, and that is the bosses. I want the bosses to tell me. The bosses told me to say Jonathan Von Tobel. I want the people in charge to be like, "Man, Dustin, I know you make a lot of dick jokes, but I didn't realize you're actually okay at betting."
There's no way that they told you to call me that.
Jonathan just nailed it. He said, and I do call him Jonathan, so I will.
Right.
He said, "You're good at what you do." Why wouldn't you assume that your bosses also believe you're good at what you do? Why continue to chase the adulation from them?
Because I think I've created a false perception that I'm trying to knock down, is that people think I'm an idiot. But look, I also win bets.
Very true. It's not like they make you the full-time co-host of a nationally syndicated radio show or anything like that. You do need that sort of approval. Yeah.
What more could people do? Let's be honest. Like, what would you want them to do?
No, I don't think it's them. I don't think it's them. It's me. This is the real therapy. You want the real therapy conversation?
Yes.
I have an issue with chasing something. And I have to create false narratives and false enemies. And part of that is to push and motivate myself instead of just doing it because it's something I love to do. I have to create things that don't exist.
You just do what I do, the unhealthy mental thing, which is every day you come home and you tell yourself that was awful, be better tomorrow. See? Yeah. Like that's what I do. Who cares about what everybody else thinks? I just tell myself that sucked. The second I sat in the car today after Follow the Money, I was like, that show stunk. Let's do better tomorrow.
Yeah, you were bad today. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna...
See? That's what I tell myself.
I have no clue, dude.
That's how you handle it.
I think you're great. You know that.
Right, but that's how you handle it, right? Screw what other people think. You chase the ghost of self-acceptance, which you'll never catch.
No, that's
go.
never coming. That's
See,
the
that's what I'm
problem.
saying, but that's
Does it
better.
help having a girl? Does it help having a girlfriend? Like now, Jonathan has a wife that's very supportive. Does it help having a supportive girlfriend to help you with your self-confidence?
Yes and no. In some areas it does. In other ways, it's just like I said about both of you. I know I've got both of you as friends. I know you both support me. So sometimes when she says like, I believe in you or you're doing great, I go, yeah, but you're my girlfriend. That's what you're supposed to say.
So you're just never gonna be happy. That's pretty solid.
So you're just like legitimately miserable.
Yeah, mentally, absolutely. There's always something spinning the positive into a negative, and then the negative, it's like my brain enjoys the negative because now it can double down on the negative and send me spiraling into a direction that I think turns into motivation at some point.
You should smoke weed.
Run up there. You
I-
should. Well, no, not too long ago, somebody told me he needs this medication, and he was literally too nervous to take the meds. I think it would have helped. I just think it would have. You think too much.
But here's the problem. At the same point, while I say all this about myself, I do love me, the person. I think that medication would limit me some, and I wouldn't like that part of it.
Like he got bitter when his boo said that Bryson DeChambeau was good looking because he's like, I'm better looking than Bryson. You got bitter.
I also do, like, of the people on the PGA Tour, I don't think he's that good looking. And she was like drooling over him on the screen. She thought he was gorgeous. And I was like, he's mid. He just does curls.
You a big Justin Rose guy?
Just a little old for me.
He's
Like to go a
banged
little
up.
younger.
Did you get into Rory on Sunday, JBT?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, so I actually, speaking of Justin Rose, so I had Rose at 115 to 1 to win the whole thing on Saturday before the third round started. I did get a little of Rory and Scotty Scheffler, so I had both of those things. But I will say, Sunday was also Clippers Warriors, and so you guys know me. I was watching that, and
You're the only one.
yeah. And what's the Arrested Development line? Right, there's dozens of us. But like, there's I was tracking it on the leaderboard and I had it on the phone. But at one point, Rory was up like what, 4 strokes, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, you had to think Rose was going to win it with your ticket when they went to extras. I mean,
so
Rory
that's the funny
held
part.
Down.
Right. So that's the thing. So I'm locked into Warriors Clippers. I think that Rory's going to run away with it. So I'm just kind of watching it on the leaderboard. I don't really care. I was like, I'll watch round highlights afterwards. PGA Tour does a great job where they actually show you every stroke of certain golfers' rounds. It's like, they'll be able to catch up with Rory later, whatever. And then I had to do a podcast with our colleague, Will Hill. And so I sit down to do the podcast with Will, and I look at my phone, and I realize, like, we're going to a playoff. I had no idea. I actually had no clue. So I watched the playoff hole, but I was too busy watching basketball and, focusing on more important things, like will the Clippers make it into the top 6? So it was cool.
I mean, you're consistent. I'll give you that. You're consistent. You love ball.
Well,
but
I'll say it really quick. If it was any other team, I wouldn't really have cared. But that was a big game for the Clippers. So like, if it was like Lakers, Timberwolves, or anything like that, I probably would have been watching golf.
But when you watch Rory and you watch him win, even though your ticket went up in flames there, and I hope you hedged a little bit somewhere along the way, but when you're watching, do you feel anything? Because I'm not a golf guy. I don't think you're a very big golf guy either. I got emotional. Like I literally had a moment where I couldn't believe how strongly I felt about Rory McIlroy, the Masters, in that moment where normally I just would never care. Did you feel anything watching that happen?
So I do. When I say I'm a golf guy, like I really enjoy the sport of golf. I will sit there and watch like full rounds and whatnot, and even of the smaller tournaments, I will enjoy and watch. So I do enjoy golf. Having said that, if we're going to bring this full circle about therapy and whatnot, I am somewhat dead inside. So like things like that, I'm just like, oh, cool. Like he's clearly happy. So I'm like, I don't empathize with it, right? I don't feel the joy. I don't feel that, but I see a man screaming his lungs out after he drops that putt. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, that guy's really happy. So, yeah, that's cool. But, like, I didn't get goosebumps or anything, or like, oh, my God, Rory, this is so great. Yeah, like, no, I'm just like, all right, cool. Yeah, that guy's happy, so good for him.
You are dead inside. I couldn't help it. The emotion was it just bubbled up. There was nothing I could do.
It was
something happens in my
wildly
family. I don't cry. For some reason, Rory was making me emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like I am twisted and demented. Got a lot going on with my family. I've never cried. Rory over there winning I've never met him, and all of a sudden it just starts bubbling. I'm like, why am I getting emotional right now?
Oh, yeah, no.
I've watched a guy achieve something that he had watched go through his fingertips so many times.
But here's the thing though. This is where now you're going to get me to push back on this now because here's the thing. So what did he achieve? He achieved the career Grand Slam, right?
Yeah.
He won 3 other majors. Like, he's achieved great things already. Like, let's relax a little bit. For him, it's a personal thing. But, like, why I don't get goosebumps is like, cool, that guy won a 4th time a major tournament. That's great. Like, it's a cool achievement. And I understand why he's happy about it. I'm not saying he should not be. But to try to get me wrapped up into it, like, this rich guy's getting richer. This is so cool. Like, I don't really, it's fine.
Yeah, but at the same time, if he never wins it, and he retires, the idiots like us, when they talk about him, they mention he never was able to capture the career Grand Slam. Like, that hangs over him forever. And it's also something that he clearly wanted badly. It's the #1 major to win in golf.
No, he knows all this. He doesn't care.
Right, yeah, I know. You don't have to explain it to me. It's the equivalent of watching Mitch Moss cash a Florida future. Like, it's fine. Like, all right, am I supposed to be happy for the guy?
Okay, the rich get richer. Now it computes.
Yeah, right.
Jonathan Von Tobel, NBA, nobody sharper. He was watching on Sunday, and he's a Clippers fan. Does anybody have the Nuggets winning that series?
It's crazy to see though. It's funny, man. I don't really subscribe to the whole like everybody's on one side. Oh, like I don't really care about that. So I think the Clippers can win the series. I did bet them at +130 to do so, but it is crazy to watch the betting market flip the way that it did. You know, some spots open -190 in favor of Denver when the series was set on Sunday. Yeah, and now here we are. Some spots are upwards of -130. Now, to be fair, there are some other spots that were more in line with this. Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate, we were texting right before when he opened them. He actually had it Denver -115. So he was much more in line over there than where some other spots were. So depending on who you talk to and where you started, the line move is not as dramatic as it would seem with the series price. But look, over the last 21 odd games or so, they have been the second or third best team in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard is playing at an incredible clip. Since about the beginning of March, he's averaging like 25 and 7 on 50, 40, 80 splits. He's been great on defense. Harden deserves a ton of credit. They have the pieces that I think are going to give the Nuggets fits. Sorry, I think you probably guys have talked to Matt Moore and others who have echoed the sentiment that Aaron Gordon is like the Kawhi defender. Good luck with that. Aaron Gordon's been really unhealthy all year long, and I don't think he's going to stop Kawhi. You've got defensive options for Jamal Murray, who hasn't been healthy throughout this entire time. And the one thing that I keep pointing to, you are not going to stop Jokic. Statistically, if there is a center who has been the best against him, it is the center for the Los Angeles Clippers, Ivica Zubac, but nobody's ever going to stop him. The most important part about that matchup is that on the other end, Zubac will make him work. They will post him up. They will make him defend. They will bring him out along the perimeter and force him to move in high pick and roll situations, and they will gas Jokic out. That I think works in his favor. Zubac does not foul. He stays on the floor. So I don't think Jokic is going to get him into foul trouble. This isn't to say that the Nuggets are going to get smoked in this series, but I think Clippers in 6 is a fair prediction. I think they're the better team. I think the market is starting to reflect that, obviously. And I'm not turned off by what everybody is finally seeing with this team, which is, yeah, it's a good team, man. And they deserve to be respected by the betting market.
Yeah, and look, if anyone wants to fade OKC in the West, I'm open to it. I'm the contrarian that way where I'm not necessarily buying them. I'd be interested in your Clippers because I do think they would be a tough matchup for the Thunder in a series with the vets there, with the size they have, with the defense they play, and they can score at will. They have so many options on that end of the floor. But my question would be on Passover, we ask a question in the Jewish religion. Why is this night different than all other nights? Why is this version of the Clippers different from the past that have let us down as someone who's had many futures tickets on them before?
But so, and this is where I will push back, and this I do get a little irritated when people say this. Why did the like? Can I ask you? I will respond to your question with a question. How did the Clippers let you down? Why did they let you down?
They did not reach the NBA Finals.
Why? Right? Why? What happened?
I'm trying to remember who they ran into. I don't remember.
They didn't run into anybody. Kawhi got hurt every single time.
Yeah,
he hasn't finished. He hasn't finished a playoff series since 2021. That has been the problem for this team. They have not been eliminated when Kawhi Leonard has been healthy. In fact, actually, no, that's a lie. The Orlando bubble. That's why this series is actually great too, because remember, they were up 3-1 in that series and up by like 15 or 20 points in the third quarter against Denver, and they ended up losing that series. But regardless, that is the last time they lost a playoff series with Kawhi on the floor. He has not finished a playoff series since 2021. So why I get irritated is, I get thrown out this thing of like, oh, this Clippers team, they're such a disappointment. Well, no, they've been injured. So if your pushback is, I don't trust them because I don't trust Kawhi to stay healthy, I think that is a very fair pushback on believing in this Clippers team in the long term. But I can take you back series by series. Go 2 years ago when they played the Suns in the first round. They went to Phoenix. Harlem Vulgaris and all of these other guys, Kevin O'Connor, mocking the Clippers for not trying to tank in game on the final day of the regular season because they thought the Suns were going to smoke them. They went into Phoenix. They beat the absolute piss out of the Suns, but then Kawhi got hurt. So they go up 1-0 in that series. Kawhi gets hurt. They lose 4 straight in that series. Go back to the year prior when he was healthy before the ACL tear. What did they do? They went to, remember, Utah was a power. They were great in that second round series after they were down 3-2 to Dallas, and they went to Dallas, and Kawhi dropped nearly 50 in a must-win game, and they came back and won that series in 7. They went to Utah and beat the Jazz and got to the Western Conference Finals. But what happened? Kawhi got hurt, and so they couldn't beat the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals. So my whole point here is that the Clippers, when they have been healthy, have been everything they've been advertised to be. The problem is that Kawhi has never stayed healthy. And so I think it is a fair thing to say I am cautious because I don't believe he can stay healthy. But I don't think it's fair to say this team has been this big disappointment because when they have been whole and they have been healthy, they have looked like the best team in their respective series when they have been together.
Have you put any time thinking about the Clippers? Have you put any time thinking?
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like it's been, and I don't expect anything because they're the Clippers. I'm wearing an Angels hat. Like that's how this thing goes. But like I have very few moments, like we're talking about like joy. There are very few moments in my sports fandom where I'm like running around the house or doing like, you know what I mean? Like being the fan guy. One of them is when they beat the Suns in that first game, because again, he'll never admit it. Harlem Vulgaris had one of the stupid, he's a smart guy. He had a stupid tweet. He alleged that they should have tanked in game in the final game of the regular season, that they should have been watching a scoreboard and tanking because they were going to get smoked by the Suns. Kevin O'Connor, who thinks he's the smartest guy he's ever met, also tried to dunk on them. They went out there. They were clearly the best team in the end. Like they were clearly the best team on the floor, and they lost that series. That was disappointing. When Terrence Mann drops over 40, and I think he hit 7 threes in Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals, and they beat the Jazz to go to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history, those are like the two moments. And that's why I go back to like this whole thing is like, guys, they've been great. They've been everything since they put this thing together. It's just that he's been hurt, and that's why it sucks to watch this. And I just want to run from him. Like that'd be really cool to see it. So we'll see if he can be healthy, but I will adamantly fight tooth and nail that every time he's been healthy, they've been everything they've advertised.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust Kawhi Leonard's knee to hold up?
1. Seriously, like why would we? I agree with everybody who doesn't trust it. Until you see it, you can't really believe it. But I think I have to accept them for how they're currently constructed, right? Like you can't just go in and assume that that's going to be the case. And as currently constructed, they are playing at a level of a top 3 team in the NBA.
You know, my girlfriend says that about me every night before we go to sleep. She says that to herself. I have to accept him as he's currently constructed, and hopefully they'll figure it out one day.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it.
By the way, those wondering, hey, aren't the Von Tobels famous as a family in Vegas? Yes, but the reason
there's absolutely nobody who's wondering that.
The reason he likes the Angels and he loves the Clippers is because he was actually born in California.
Correct.
That's actual.
He was born in Orange County.
What should the Golden State Warrior Houston Rocket series price be?
For me, it should be -130 in favor of Golden State, or in that range. Like I think it's ridiculous that they opened as minus 250 favorites. Obviously, smart people agree with me because that thing got bumped down very quickly. I still think minus 170 is too high. Look at the last few games that the Warriors have played, and that includes against this Rockets team, by the way. Remember, what, 2 Sundays ago coming up now.
Who doesn't remember that?
They played, and the Rockets beat them. If you don't remember, Patrick, Amen Thompson held Steph Curry in that game to just 3 points on 1 of 10 shooting. Yeah, so yeah, you do remember. I was going to say, you might remember. It was very good. Now, here's the thing, though, and I'm going down 2 tracks at once. I'll just say this in terms of the price. One of the things that if you look at the last few games that are stuck out about Golden State, they are a small team. Zach Edey had 17 rebounds against them the other day. The Clippers on that fateful Sunday that we were just talking about, Ivica Zubac had, I think, 18, 20 rebounds in that game, and they doubled them up in terms of rebounding. They out-rebounded them, I think it was like 44 to 22 or somewhere in that range. They're getting crushed by these big teams on the glass. Well, Houston can do that. Not only do they have Alperen Şengün, they've actually been throwing in some wrinkles and putting Steven Adams on the floor with Alperen Şengün. So you have these 2 centers together, one of which is actually skilled enough to kind of get away as playing a power forward next to Adams. They're going to get crushed on the glass. So in almost every single game, they're probably going to have a deficit when it comes to the possessions. Houston should probably win those battles more often than not, generating second chance opportunities. Guys, in the play-in game against Memphis, the Grizzlies rebounded 40.9% of their missed shot attempts. That's an insane offensive rebounding rate. So that's probably going to happen over the course of this series. So that doesn't really work for them. As I mentioned, they have Amen Thompson, who's a very good defender. Now, I invoke that game that he held him, I put in air quotes, to 1 of 10 and 3 points, because if you guys also remember, which I'm sure you will mockingly say you do, they had won 6 straight prior to that loss. And they went through that stretch where they played 3 games in 4 nights. And it was Memphis on the road, Lakers, and then they went back home to play Denver. And they won all 3 of those games, but it was such a brutal spot after 1 day off to get the Rockets, who were gearing up on some rest for that game. I don't think Amen's going to shut him down. But this is all to say that there are matchups that I think work for this team. We also have to remember that the Warriors are playing multiple non-shooters at once. And Houston is going to be willingly playing off of those guys. You're going to ask Gary Payton to hit 3 of 6 3-pointers again or something like that consistently. Just don't think that's going to be the case. Who the hell knows what's going on with Kuminga? They benched him in that Sunday game, and there's that weird relationship hanging over this thing. I think they win. I think they deserve to be favored. But I think that this is like a 6 or 7 game series, which is going to be very tight throughout. And I'm not going to be surprised if Houston wins it either.
Yeah, and look what it took for Golden State to pull off a win against a Memphis team that's falling apart in front of our eyes, it looks like, with all the stuff going on with Ja and off the floor. And on top of that, a team that hasn't looked as good in the second half either. There's a reason why they fired Taylor Jenkins, and it took that late to beat that team. And now they're going to take a rested Houston team that's young and hungry and has a great head coach who's changed the whole mentality of that roster. How about another game in the West? Am I crazy? Because while I love Luka, I love LeBron, I love everything about what they look like closing 2 minutes of a game now, but plus 160 on Minnesota, who's been red hot down the stretch. Is that number right in your eyes?
So I think it's a little high, but I will, in my rattling off of Clippers history, I will take you back one more time in Clippers history to illustrate this point. Go back to when Rudy Gobert was still on the Utah Jazz. If you remember, one of the big reasons why that iteration of the Jazz failed was because teams would the Clippers did it to them, the Mavericks did it to them, and that was actually in a series in which Luka Doncic was hurt. They said, oh, okay, well, you've got this really good defensive center in the middle. We're going to play 5 guys outside of the line, and we're going to just dribble drive and swing the ball around and find open shooters and kill you off the bounce, and we're going to attack you in that way, and that's going to negate what Rudy Gobert is going to be able to do on defense. You can kind of do that here, especially with the way the Lakers play. They play a 5-out style. They're going to have 5 guys that can shoot. They're going to be able to bring Rudy Gobert out of the paint. So if you're able to do that, that's a small issue for Minnesota. The other issue is they still don't have anybody to guard Luka Doncic. Last year, Luka killed him. Jaden McDaniels gives up like 60 pounds to the guy. Anthony Edwards is too small to defend him too, and Julius Randle's too big and clunky to do it. So I think that's my worry, Dustin. Like, I think in theory, the probability of the Timberwolves winning this series is shorter than what the market is saying it, or is longer than the market saying it is, right? It has a higher probability of winning the series than what the price says. But at the end of the day, I think the mismatches are still the mismatches. And I would pick the Lakers to win the series, but I just don't think that they win it that many times in 100 simulations that the market says. Is that fair?
Yeah, I actually agree. I agree with that completely. I love the Lakers. I love what they've done, but I think Minnesota's going to be a tough out. I think
Yeah.
Minnesota's going to be a tough out.
Well, that makes two of you because JBT loves the Lakers too.
I mean, my dream is every morning Adam Silver decides to abolish the franchise. I mean, like,
Well,
I hope I wake up and it happens.
You would love if there was somehow a cross-sport championship where the Lakers could play the Yankees at the end of that season. That is your dream scenario.
New
Someone
York
who loves you love big markets.
No, what I love, actually, no, New York's annoying and I can't stand it. What I'm gonna love, and this is we're all gonna benefit from. This is gonna be great. What's gonna happen is the Lakers and the Warriors are gonna win their respective series, and then every single day we're gonna have legacy talk about Steph Curry and LeBron James on ESPN, and that's all we're gonna talk about because we can't break down the actual basketball that's happening. We have to talk about how Steph Curry's not the best shooting guard, and then you're gonna get PK Subban. No, actually, because hockey, it'll be in there, so you can get PK Subban to come on and talk about, hey, what about Ovechkin? Like, I don't know about Kobe though. And let's get Alex Rodriguez on, and let's get Chris Mad Dog Russo to compare Babe Ruth's legacy to LeBron versus Jordan and all that kind of. The coverage is going to be insane. I'm going to want to jump off a freaking building. It's going to be terrible.
And no one's going to talk about whatever teams they're playing, right?
Right? No, it's dude. If it's Warriors Lakers, the coverage is going to absolutely blow.
If you programmed ESPN, I'd be interested to watch it. It'd be fun.
I mean,
I'd bring with you,
huh?
Because you don't like anybody. Like, who would you bring?
No, that's not true. I'm actually Matt Humans makes fun of me all the time. I actually am a very big Stephen A. Smith fan. I think he's wildly entertaining. But I think that what they do with him and some of the stuff they do is absolutely ridiculous. Like, for those who missed it, I bring up PK Subban for a reason. Ovechkin breaks the record for the goals, right? He sets the record, and the next day on First Take, they're doing like what's greater, like that achievement or LeBron like setting. I think it was like like leading the league and scoring all time, and then PK Subban's like, I don't think he's as good as Kobe, and it's like, what? Why are we doing this? What, like, how are we changing? How are we taking Ovechkin and turning this into LeBron versus MJ again? Like, it's unbelievable. So I do think people have their place. I would do a lot more hardcore sports. And then I would also go back, if you really want to get into this, I would also go back to more journalistic stuff as well, because I think sports journalism is very smart and very good when it's done properly. And yeah, it'd be better because I think I'm good at what I do. There we go. It would be better.
Yeah, and
press. Go free press.
On that note, what did you make of the Aaron Rodgers interview today on Pat McAfee? Did you feel there was a lot of journalistic integrity done there?
You mean the one-sided storytelling of Aaron Rodgers? I think we're all just supposed to believe him. Because here's the thing: if he's right in saying, right, because he's like, I told him I'll sign for 10 M's is the way he said it, right? 10 M's. Like, relax, dude. You're 45. Yeah, like, yeah, come on. just say you're 10 million. Just say 10 million. Okay.
What an effing dork.
Right. So
also, who's paying him 10 million? I don't think anyone's paying him that. There's only one team that needs a quarterback.
Well, see, that's the thing. I would disagree with you. I think that he is worth 10 million in the grand scheme of things is very cheap for a quarterback. So, like, that's fine. The problem is, if you're willingly like saying I'll take 10 M's, why are you not with the Steelers? The Steelers, by all accounts, want you. And unless the Steelers are lowballing you, which I don't think is the case, they desperately need a quarterback. They have nothing. Fields is gone. Russell Wilson is gone. They're looking at Mason Rudolph, and that's it. They need you very bad. So somebody's lying here. Is it the Steelers or is it RFK Jr.'s buddy? I don't know. Time will only tell. But I feel like maybe Aaron Rodgers is not telling us the truth, right?
Yeah, I have a good feeling who might be lying. Can my Pistons beat the Knicks?
Yes, of course they can. I think they can. I think that and we've started to see the market kind of snap here, right? That was like minus 425. I texted you guys when that series opened up. Now it's like what, like minus 380, I think minus 375 in some spots. So the market, I think, is rightfully so kind of whittling this down a little bit. I think one of the big things is much like we're talking about with like Luka, but to a smaller level, the Knicks don't really have anybody for Cade Cunningham. Like, he's very, very good. They like to primarily play drop coverage. He's going to kill them when they do that. You know, you can say, oh, I have Mikal Bridges, or, oh, we have OG Anunoby. That's fine, but Cade Cunningham's going to hunt Jalen Brunson like crazy throughout that entire series and try to go after him. So you're not going to shut him down entirely. And you've surrounded him with enough shooting that I think that you're going to be able to be fine against a lesser defensive team. So, yes, like, I think it's going to be competitive. One of the favorite bets I made was over 5.5 games in the series at -115. I think that's going to be pretty tight. Now, again, they deserve to be underdogs there. The Knicks should be favored. I think the Knicks will probably win, but I think this is a 6 or 7 game series as well. I think the Pistons are going to be very solid in this series. And I think we talked about this last time, Patrick. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when they get to Detroit for game 3. I think a lot of people are good. Right. Like, I think that environment, especially in game 3, I wrote about it in the piece up on the website of VSiN.com, where it's like, I think the last time the Pistons won a playoff game, Obama wasn't even like the Democratic nominee, right? Like, it's been a long time since that happened. And so, like, they're going to be crazy out there.
My friends keep texting me from Michigan saying the vibes in downtown Detroit for games 3 and 4 are going to be something like you will feel it through the screen. It is going to be crazy.
Dude, they felt it in a regular season game. I think I've invoked this before, but there was like a regular season game in February against Boston. Like, the Celtics are on the second leg of a back-to-back, and they're playing in Detroit, and like Jalen Rose is on the sidelines. It looks like it's a sold-out crowd, and they ended up blowing out the Celtics in that game. And it was like this seems like a Game 7 atmosphere. This is insane. And it was like a Wednesday in February.
Gonna be awesome.
Real quick, because I'm glad you brought up the Celtics. Is there a chance that we get to the end of the postseason, we go, we're all idiots for thinking the Celtics weren't going to go back to back with how good they are? I know they're dealing with some injuries. We don't know about Jaylen Brown right now, but they're so deep. Missoula proved himself a year ago. They're around 2-1 to win the whole thing. Is there any chance we go, man, we really overthought that this year?
Yeah, well, I would ask who doesn't think they are not, right? Because I think every iteration is like Thunder Celtics in the NBA Finals, and then I guess just depends on what you think is going to happen. But no, like, I think that they're going to win the Eastern Conference. I think the Cavaliers have a little bit more of a shot. I've been turned off by the way they ended the regular season. But to your point, I mean, look, Orlando, it could be like last year's Eastern Conference Finals where Orlando gets swept in like 4 hard-fought games, but they're going to beat them. There's a massive math edge. If you just go by averages, on average, the Magic are going into a game with the Celtics at a 19, I think it's like 19.7 point difference from beyond the arc in terms of how many points at 3-pointers they average both teams. So it's going to be absolutely insane for them to overcome that. And then, of course, you move on. They are built to mollywop the New York Knicks. I apologize, Dustin. And then they're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, like, I think that, yes, you can make the argument at 2-1 they are worth betting. You mentioned Brown. He actually should be back. He's been playing down the stretch. He got the injection in his knee to promote healing. I don't think there's any danger of him missing time in this series. I think they're going to be full go, and I think they're freaking great, and I think they're going to be just fine.
When you become VP of programming for ESPN, would you hire Dustin and I?
Yeah, of course. Because I actually, if we're, again, like, because I always have lots of thoughts. One of the reasons why I got into radio is the old school ESPN radio lineup. It was great. It was one of the best radio lineups you'll ever see. From Cowherd, Levitard, SVP, and Russillo, I think was one of the best, like, outside of the rap. I don't know if you've heard of that one. That was one of the best radio programs out there. That really inspired me to get into radio, right? Like, that was one of the things. It was like 2 dudes chopping it up, listening to music that I liked with Aqua Teen Hunger Force references, right? Like, that was my jam. So the very much not taken care of and allowed to rot radio lineup needs to be taken care of. I would totally do it. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing is, when Ryan says I was talking to a GM, just understand he wasn't talking to a GM. Okay?
All right. Yeah.
Just to be very clear. All right, Jonathan. Who's better? Well, thank you for the future employment. I do feel better now.
You're welcome.
I feel better. Now, when you do hire Dustin, in what capacity?
I think he's a host. I think he can be your host. Why?
Look at his face. Look at his face. He was so literally that answer concerned him. You could see it in his face.
You
What?
think after all of the buildup, you think?
What do you mean?
What?
You're good at your job. You do this, you do that. I believe in you.
Sure.
I'm your friend. I think as a host, I think was the qualification.
Oh, see, he's better.
Oh, like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, I think it. That is a thought in my brain. I believe you are a host. Like, what is that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sound like doubt. We're
No.
back.
Go home and
But
talk
if-
to Shorty about it.
Yeah, what are we doing?
But if you're going to be my boss, remember, you can never tell me good things because that's the only way to get me to screw up.
I'm actually very much I'm very much one that would thrive in like a Michael Malone type setting, you know? Like, hey, jackass, what are we doing here? Why did the wrong liner run? We've talked about this 3 times. Either get it done or don't. And I think it's actually one of the bigger flaws about some of the places I've worked at. I think people are too sensitive. It's your job. Like if you're mad because I told you did something wrong, I mean, suck it up, Buttercup. We're adults here. Like, let's do this thing.
Yeah, I agree. Jonathan Von Tobel, VSiN host, of course. Listen, he's been around since the inception, people. This guy, he's very young. His future is, and Dustin even believes he's a host. So he's got the cosign. His future is bright. Senior NBA analyst. You could hear just that Rolodex that was coming out about the NBA. You could do that, even having beers with the guy. At me, JVT on Twitter. Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome, guys. Talk to you next week.
Okay, donk. There he goes, Jonathan Von Tobel. See, he said host, and he's still not happy.
No, but that's the thing, is no matter what he would have said, I would have found a way to not be happy. That's what we talk about in therapy.
To spin it?
Yeah, I'm always negative spin it, thinking that's going to push me harder instead of enjoying any positive reinforcement.
Right. I mean, that whole beginning was positive reinforcement. It just doesn't filter into your brain as positivity.
No, I kind of deflected away. I'm like Brodeur in his prime, just like
fun to be a friend with.
When people say nice things, you don't
people
believe
say
it.
nice things, and you're just like, ugh. What do you want to do coming back?
We have stuff on the draft that I'd like to discuss with second quarterbacks because, you know, we always know one quarterback gonna go. We're gonna find a franchise quarterback. How often is that guy the second guy selected? That's the question.
I'm in. We've been holding on to this one, so it better deliver. We're coming back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, scrap the second. It's kind of nebulous with the second quarters, but I do like what the big guy just laid out for me. With the draft class being so weak this year, as far as quarterbacks are concerned, like Cam Ward, let's put it this way. If Cam Ward was in last year's draft class, okay, he obviously doesn't go ahead of Caleb. He obviously doesn't go ahead of Jaden Daniels. Who went 3, big guy? Oh, he does not go ahead of the big donk in New England.
Drake May.
He does not go ahead of Drake May.
Maybe McCarthy.
I don't think he goes ahead of McCarthy. I don't think he goes, I don't know if he goes ahead of Michael Penix Jr.
I was going to say, I don't think he goes ahead of Michael Penix Jr.
I think he does Bo Nix.
I think if Ward came out last year, because obviously he would have had this been the case, I think he had a chance to go ahead of Penix Jr. But I think if they all tested based on the tape that he had at Washington State, I think Penix would still go ahead of Ward a year ago. I think the Miami film has helped Ward catapult himself up to number 1, which is why I have a lot of questions about it. Because we have more film of him not being a number 1 pick.
Now, so what we decided to do was look ahead to next year, since this year's so weak. Look, he's got a great name. His name is Arch effing Manning. But if his name was Dustin Swedelson, is he being thought of as the sure shot for the number 1 overall pick next year? There's no way. We haven't seen enough from the kid. We just don't know anything.
No, but I do think there are other options. There are other options in next year's class that I think are more intriguing than what we're looking at. Because, look, while I have questions about Ward, I understand what teams are seeing and why they believe he's number 1. The problem is there's a massive gap from Ward at 1 to Shedeur Sanders at 2. And is it even Shedeur at 2? Is it Jackson Dart at 2? And even then, the gap from him to the next quarterback is massive as well. We have teams trying to convince themselves that Tyler Shuck is a first-round quarterback. Tyler Shuck is 26 years old. He can rent a car. He's off his parents' health insurance at this point. It shouldn't be possible that we're drafting him in the first round. So I think there's a lot of desperation when it comes to the NFL draft this year. And I think if you're going to take a quarterback in the first round, especially in the top 10, top 5, that quarterback better be someone that's going to alter your franchise, that they're going to change the momentum of where you're heading, and there's someone who can potentially be developed into winning a Super Bowl. I do not see that with this class, and I think next year may offer more options for teams if they were to wait this year, then get someone who can change your franchise next year. The problem is when you do that, that's when people lose their jobs.
What are you talking about? Give me names for next year. I'm ready.
Let's go. So you mentioned Arch. He's not my number 1 quarterback next year.
Oh,
I think everyone's sleeping on Garrett Nussmeier at LSU.
I like Nussmeier a lot.
I think he can sling it. Now he has some experience. There are issues there to work out.
He's
but
a little bit
older,
older, though, right?
I think you're right, but he's coming back for another season. This is his, I believe, 4th year at LSU, and he's played a lot of football. Let's see. He has played, I think, 38 games, something like 31
He's
games.
23. He's going to be 24 next February. He's going to be 24 before he's drafted.
I believe Joe Burrow was like 22, 23 when he was drafted. So, I mean,
with a couple of years difference, Nussmeier's not Joe Burrow. But,
no,
I like Nussmeier. I like Nussmeier as well. I'm not saying I don't, but he can't be drafted that age.
29 touchdowns, 12 picks, 4,000 yards. I love him. The other guy, and he's kind of in some controversy, and there are some ways to knock his play at times. But if someone can coach up Nico Iamaleava,
that's my guy.
In his arm, if the potential in his arm, if you can get him right, absolutely worthy of a number 1 pick. That the arm talent is special. It just needs to be developed. He's young and inexperienced.
Dude, he's 6'6". He's got the best body in the history of quarterbacks.
It's all there. It's all there. Now he's going to go to UCLA where he's lost some. He's not great at finances, but I think he's better at playing quarterback.
I guess I don't understand. Why are people complaining so much about the fact that he took less money?
Well, because he tried to hold Tennessee hostage. He tried to do a holdout. Tennessee said, fine, kick rocks. And now because of taxes, he's going to make less money at UCLA than he ever would have made at Tennessee.
Contrarian. Tennessee botched it. They should have came up with the cash. That kid's gonna be great. That kid's going to be great. I think he's a potential number 1 overall pick.
Now, the only issue I actually have in the whole thing is his family coming out and saying that it was the Tennessee offense and Josh Heupel that was the issue, not the money. Josh Heupel coached Sam Bradford. He coached Hendon Hooker into a monster season. he has a long track record.
I love
of
that
being
kid, dude.
An offensive
I
guru.
think he's got such raw talent. He's from this LA area where all the quarterbacks come from. He's so good.
I'll give you another one. Another one in next year's draft. I think there's a lot of options. I know a lot of people are going to like Drew Aller. He's like 5th or 6th on my list here.
No.
So we went Garrett Nussmeier. We went Arch Manning. We went Nico Iamaleava. Are we all forgetting what Carson Beck looked like 2 years ago? Carson Beck did not look good last year. The whole Georgia offense took a massive step back. They did not have the weapons they had the year prior. He lost Ladd McConkey. He lost Brock Bowers. And need I remind you who the offensive coordinator is in Athens? Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo held the offense back at Georgia for years before getting another job and then coming back to Athens. There are a lot of issues there. I'm not sure they all were Carson Beck. He's going to go down to Miami now with an opportunity to prove he's worthy of being the number 1 pick. But a year ago at this time, the talk was Carson Beck was going to be the number 1 pick, and he can redo his image now.
Need I tell you he's going to be 24 in November?
That's all these quarterbacks.
Nobody's taking a 24-year-old in the first round.
But that's okay. So then the young guy you would take is Drew Aller then.
No, I'm taking a quarterback if I have to take Drew Aller. I'm taking a left tackle. You know I don't like Drew Aller.
Okay, and then here's
mad
my.
I think Carson Beck is old. He is old.
Yeah, but he's the same age as Cam Ward. The other guy that I think has massive upside, but people are going to say Anthony Richardson here, is the Arkansas quarterback Taylon Green. I think Taylon Green is like a 6'5" dual threat monster. He's going to play his second year under Bobby Petrino there, so it's more of a pro offense where he can learn how to get ready for the next level. It's a long shot, but I think Taylon Green is a guy capable of doing what Cam Ward just did, going from a projected, 3rd round pick, 2nd round pick, to become a 1st round pick. The talent is off the charts with Arkansas's Taylon Green.
Do not get mad if I fact check. Cam Ward is going to be drafted as a 22-year-old. Carson Beck would be drafted as a 24-year-old.
Let me see. Cam Ward is turning 20.
I'm telling you his effing age, dude. Stop being such a baby.
He's turning 23 he's 23 in a month. He'll play his rookie year at 23.
And then Beck would play his rookie year at 25.
24. Well, when does he turn 25?
He'd be turning 20. All I'm saying is they're upset. But, hey, maybe you're right. The question would be, how old was Burrow? I think Burrow was 22. Was he 23?
Here's my point. I'll look when Joe Burrow was drafted.
You know what we're doing that's disrespectful? We shouldn't compare Joe Burrow to any of these guys.
No, that was a bad comp on me. I just thought LSU.
No.
I remember him being a little older.
Too. No,
he was played his rookie year at 24. Joe Burrow.
It's Joe Burrow. He's a Hall of Famer.
My point is Joe Burrow wasn't Joe Burrow until he became Joe Burrow. Remember that.
Yeah, the senior year in college.
Yeah, his extra year where he had experience and he was a vet.
Hey, then your best comp to Joe Burrow would be Nussmeier.
And then here's my greater point. You didn't love any of the names I said. They're all better than everyone after Cam Ward in this draft.
I did like Nico.
Yeah. No, Nico would be the number 1 pick this year if he was eligible. That's the reality.
Yeah, I agree. Because there's so much potential. Arch is going to be number 1, though, right?
Have we seen him throw the football?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the assumption is Peyton will get on that PR train and tell people you'd be an idiot not to draft my whatever he is.
Look, I want it to be true. I want the Giants to have the number 1 pick. That's part of why I don't want them drafting Shedeur here this year. But Arch Manning played at a very low level of high school football in Louisiana. He did not play at the highest level. Now, he looked awesome, and he's been at Texas, and he was a backup. But all we saw him do is be the Wildcat quarterback and run the football. We have not seen him read a defense. We have not seen him consistently throw the ball. He is still a huge question mark. However, last name rules, and they have a track record of being great quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's got good pedigree. When we come back, we'll close some tabs with the big guy here. It is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Live Mad Dog Sports Radio. So a little controversy at the beginning of the show. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. We opened with Rogers. That was the drama coming off of McAfee. No basketball tonight. Kind of a tough spot. So while we're opening, I look over to my left and Isaiah is laughing. There's an anonymous caller or somebody using a pseudonym. And it was this guy. And we got to talk to him because, well, let's just first off say hi. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Patrick. How's it going, man?
Hey, good, buddy. Let me ask you a question. You know I love you. Dustin can't stand you. It's fine. And for those that don't know, Jacob, the crazy producer, New York City, we love him. He goes on double dates, but aren't double, meaning he literally goes on 2 dates at the same restaurant with different chicks. So I love Jacob. Again, Dustin can't stand him, but it's all good. 50-50, never hurt anybody. Did you really believe that we were going to open the show taking your call, talking about your dating life?
See, I don't see anything wrong with that because I'm just sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers. So let's talk about someone more interesting, a.k.a. me.
I love this
Figured
guy.
it's a slow news day. Open with the slow producer. Got it.
Oh, no. That's not cool. So last time we checked in with you, obviously successful with the two girls in the same night onto the strip club in Long Island City. You got any updates?
The update is I saw the first girl again today, had a great lunch at an Upper East Side Jewish deli. Looking forward to seeing her again. Had a blast. Spent 2 hours with her. The time flew by. I'm really, really excited about her.
She likes you? She likes you?
Evidently, she said I was very handsome, which I like.
Whoa. I have a question, Jake. I'm curious. You went to a Jewish deli. I'm curious which Jewish cured deli meat is the most romantic for a second date.
We both had the pastrami.
Oh man,
nothing like a second date watching a chick chow down on pastrami. You know what I'm saying?
If a girl orders pastrami hold on. If a girl orders pastrami in front of you on a date, you can just basically plan on going home by yourself that night. There will be no sex.
See, here's the thing, though. I almost said to her, "Do you want some more tongue?"
Okay, you got to walk off on a high note. I don't even know what it means, but I think he's doing animal shtick.
Tongue is it's an animal's tongue that they'll cook and turn into a sandwich like deli meat. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Jacob, success with the first girl from the double the other night. All right. You got a couple of seconds to close. You got to close your best tab to close here.
Yeah, closing tabs. Narcissistic personality disorder, characterized by grandiosity, need for admiration, lack of empathy, sense of entitlement. Does that sound like Aaron Rodgers to you?
You said it. I didn't say it. The big guy. Isaiah, thank you. Ryan, thank you. Tom Burns next. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.